This is what we do best. We manage complex incidents. We coordinate, we communicate, and we respond. And again, I will be traveling to Florida later today so I can join my team as well as our state partners that are in the field preparing for the impacts from Hurricane Latin. My leadership team, they are the best of the best. They are trained to work across multiple states and support the impacts that states are going to be feeling. And I want everybody to know that we are prepared for what we need to do to support Florida as well as all of the other states. Before I take questions, I just want to emphasize once again, because this is extremely important, as well as people need to listen to their local officials. They need to take this storm seriously. It's going to hit the west coast of Florida as a major hurricane, and it will still be a hurricane as it departs on the eastern coast of Florida. There will be flooding, there will be tornadoes, storm surge. Take the actions you need to protect yourself and your family. We do not need to lose any lives as a result of this storm. We have the time to prepare. Make sure that you're taking those actions now. And with that, Corrine, I'll take any questions.
Thank you so much, Administrator. I just want to remind folks that she can only hear us, can't see us. So I'm going to start calling on folks right now. Go ahead, Omar.
Thank you. I appreciate you making this time. Do you have an estimate of the universe of how many people are not heeding the evacuation orders and remain at risk?
I do not have an estimate, but what I can tell you is that I was in Florida on Monday. I met with the mayor of Tampa and the mayor of St. Petersburg, and I saw people leaving the area. People are listening. They are leaving. But we know there's always a few that want to stay behind and protect their home. This storm is different. This storm is going to bring deadly storm surge. And so I want people who still have time to evacuate to make sure that they're doing so, but doing so safely under the guidance and the advice of their local officials.
Go ahead, MJ.
Thank you, Administrator. This is MJ Lee with CNN. The White House has been talking a lot about the threat of misinformation, disinformation as it relates to storm recovery efforts. Can you talk to us about whether there's one piece of incorrect information that you think, in your view, has been most damaging, that you think would be most important to clarify?
Well, honestly, I think all of it is damaging to our ability to be able to reach people. It's intentional to create distrust, and that level of distrust is, as the president said earlier today, un-American. And what we need to do is make sure people can get the assistance that they need and they deserve. And so I want people to be able to come to us, register for assistance, so we can help them on their road to recovery.
Go ahead, Nandita.
Thank you, Greg. Administrator, you have said that FEMA has enough money to get through both hurricanes, Helene and Milton, but that you're assessing how much more you need from Congress. Is there an assessment that you can share with us?
We're continuing to make that assessment, as we do not know what it's going to cost us right now to get through Hurricane Milton. I think, as I've briefed all of you before, we went into immediate needs funding in August of this year. That allowed me to make sure I had enough money for this response, and I needed that for Hurricane Helene. Without going into INF, I probably would not have had enough money to support Hurricane Helene. With the full authority to spend against the president's fiscal year 25 budget, I've been able to start paying the recovery projects that we put on hold. But the amount that we're spending for Hurricane Helene and the amount that we anticipate we're going to spend for Hurricane Milton, we are watching that very closely and assessing it every day so we can have a good estimate of how much more that we will need to be asking for in a supplemental.
Go ahead, Selena.
Thank you, Corrine. Thank you, Administrator Criswell. Selena Wayne with ABC News. Could you give any specific examples about the real-world impact that this misinformation is having, both in terms of, are you seeing people who aren't taking precautions because they don't trust the government or FEMA or NOAA, and then in terms of the threat to FEMA workers, have you seen examples of threats against them on the ground?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that what I am hearing is people that are not coming to us and asking us for assistance. They're not registering for the help that they need, or they are afraid to approach some of our staff because they are unsure of what the government is doing. I think one of the biggest ones that I continue to hear is that we're going to take their land from them. Simply untrue. When you register for assistance, we give you an initial amount of money, $750, to help support those immediate needs. And there were rumors out there that if you received this money and you didn't pay it back, that we would take your home. Simply untrue. This is a series of assistance that we give over time, those immediate needs. We've already given out over $60 million in North Carolina alone for people's property losses, as well as this immediate assistance. We will continue to give that money out. And as it relates to my staff, I mean, it's just demoralizing. I think that if they take it personally, they have left their families and their homes to come here and support people in need, but they're focused. They continue to stay focused on why they're here. They know their purpose, and that is to help people, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay. Go ahead, Gabe.
Thank you, Administrator. You said before that you have dealt with misinformation in the past. Why do you think that misinformation is so rampant this time around? Is it because of the election? Is it because of certain politicians? Is it because of tech platforms? Or is it because of potentially a foreign actor?
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely seen misinformation before. We have had misinformation for a long time, but we have seen it increase recently. We saw a significant increase in the response in Maui, and even more, the greatest amount that I've seen in this response to Hurricane Helene. I don't want to speculate as to why we're seeing this increase. It's just damaging, and it just makes it harder for us to do our job, and it's a distraction for the people that are out there doing really hard work to help the people get the assistance that they need and deserve.
Ken?
Could you just describe, the storm is going to be making landfall late at night on the West Coast. To what extent does that add to the complications or the dangers for residents? And just how unique is it, the fact that it will be a hurricane when it hits the West Coast, but also a hurricane when it exits the East Coast of Florida?
I think anytime we see a storm hit during the evening, it just complicates things, right? Because we know that we will have power outages as a result of this. It will be dark. People will have to try to protect themselves without the same level of light that they're used to. It just creates a whole other level of complication. But as we heard from Director Brennan earlier today, it is very rare for a storm to be a hurricane when it makes landfall and as it exits the state. It's going to move quickly, according to him, through the state, but that means it's going to create these catastrophic impacts across the state. We're going to see the most significant with storm surge on the West Coast, but we know from Hurricane Ian how much inland flooding and flash flooding that happened on the East Coast in the Orlando area. And so we're concerned about that, and that's why I talked to the mayor of Orlando earlier today to make sure he knew that even though the West Coast is getting a lot of focus on this, that the East Coast is going to have significant threats as well. And that's why I've also got incident management teams right there in the Orlando area to help work side by side with the local officials so we can get those resources in as quickly as possible when this storm is making landfall and moving across the state.
And I know, Administrator, you have to head out. Kayla, you have the last question.
Okay. Hi, Administrator. I'm just wondering if the administration is confident that the election will still be able to be conducted by November, that power outages, that roads will be safe to drive on so voters can cast their ballot.
So, the election piece is with the states, and we have resources that we can help them with to ensure we meet whatever needs that they have, and we'll continue to work with them if they have any specific requirements.
Thank you so much, Administrator. Safe travels. I know
Thanks,
you've been in
Corinne.
North Carolina for some time helping on the ground there. We really appreciate everything that you're doing, and safe travels to Florida tonight.
Thanks,
Thank
Corinne.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, Amr?
Great.
Prostitute.
On the Netanyahu call earlier today, was the president told by Prime Minister Netanyahu how he intends to respond to Iran after the October 1 attack? And then secondly, the Prime Minister's office and President Trump have confirmed they spoke last week. Was the White House informed of that call ahead of time, and do you know the contents of that call? And just generally, are you comfortable with that type of conversation happening?
So look, a couple of things. You just asked me a slew of things there. I do want to say, I know there's the rabbi call that the president's going to be doing momentarily. We'll let you know when that happens. I think we're running a little bit behind, and I know that there's going to be an opportunity for all of you all to tune in. Let me just give you a couple of just top lines on the call. It lasted about 30 minutes. It was 30 minutes long. It was direct. It was productive, obviously the call that the president had with the Prime Minister of Israel. They discussed a range of issues, and we are going to have a readout shortly that you all will have to get a better sense of what was discussed on the call, so I'm not going to get ahead of that. I know the team is working through that at this time. So as you all know, the U.S. and the Israeli government have had discussion since last week. Certainly since after the Iran attack. And so those discussions continued with the president and the prime minister. Certainly not going to get into those discussions. There's going to be a readout. Don't have anything else beyond that to share, but I can say that they did have a discussion about that. And it is a continued discussion. It started off with obviously staff level discussion last week, and obviously the two leaders had an opportunity to talk directly. Like I said, it was productive, it was direct, it lasted about 30 minutes. And this is on top of more than a dozen calls that the president and the prime minister have had since October 7th of last year. As it relates to one of your questions there about the book. Look, as you know, there are...
It wasn't about the Trump conversation last week.
Oh, wait.
Did I ask about the book as well? But
we can come back to the book.
We can come back. There's plenty of questions. I'd like to answer that as well. But particularly about Trump's conversation, I think that's more pertinent to today's
We'll
call.
say more about the Trump conversation.
So Trump spoke with Netanyahu last week.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Were you guys aware of it?
Look, I don't. That's something for obviously the Trump team to speak to. I can't speak to that about their conversation. I just don't have anything to add.
Well, I guess it's more relevant. Are we having like two different, a former administration and the current administration doing foreign policy at the same time?
As you know, there's one president at a time. That has been the way that we've done this, right, in this country, and so that is what exists. The current president, President Biden, had a conversation with the prime minister. They've had, as I mentioned, more than a dozen conversations since the past year, since October 7th of 2023. And I think what you have seen from this administration is the continued support for Israel's security. You saw that over the past couple of days, obviously since past couple of weeks, when Iran attacked Israel, the president directed his military to protect Israel. He was very proud to be able to do that, and that support continues. They had as I said, a direct, a productive conversation, as they've had for many times. This is, when you think about the president and the prime minister, they've known each other for decades. And so that's what I can speak to. I'm not going to get into the former president and his conversation with world leaders.
If I can just ask one about the book.
Yep.
Russia said today that the COVID testing material that was given to Putin by Trump was nothing abnormal. Back then, there was a lot of trading going on of material. Is that true? And then if it is true, why was the president going after Trump yesterday at the KC fundraiser over giving Putin this material?
I mean, look, that was a political event, so I'm going to let the president speak to what he said at that event. I'm not going to go beyond that. What I will say is, as it relates to what happened in the last administration, how then the president behaved and what he was able to do, whatever's being reported, I'm going to leave it to the 2020, that time in 2020, to that administration. Look, what I can say, and we can say very proudly and forcefully, I believe, is how this president responded to a once-in-a-century pandemic. He put forth a comprehensive strategy to move forward, to get shots in arms, money in pockets at a time where the economy was at a tailspin. And this is a president that took that very, very seriously, along with a critical partnership that he had with the vice president. And that's why we've seen the economy turn around. That's why we all sitting here today without masks on, because the president actually took this seriously and made sure that we were able to get out of the pandemic. That's what I'm going to speak to. The president said what he wanted to say yesterday, and I'll leave it as that.
But I guess, is it just adding to misinformation then? Because that what the last president at that time was doing what it sounds like he thought was the right thing. Everybody needed material at that time.
I'm going to let the former president speak for himself and how he behaved and the actions that he's took. That is for him to speak to. What I can speak to is what the president has done over the last 3.5 years. And look, when we came into this administration, we did not have a comprehensive strategy to deal with COVID. That did not happen. I mean, you had a former president who was telling people to inject bleach. And you have this president and this vice president who took it very seriously and put forth a comprehensive strategy to deal with a once-in-a-century pandemic. And the economy is now, just looking at the data, the economy has turned around. We are leading with the economy worldly, globally. And, you know, we are in a different place. We are in a different place. And that is because of the leadership of this president. We all saw, some of you were in this room when the former president would come to the podium to talk about the pandemic and the lies that was spewing and what was happening. And this president took it seriously. That's what I can say. Go ahead, Gabe.
Thanks, Doreen. Regarding the Woodward book and Prime Minister Netanyahu, you said that, and you have referenced the dozen calls the president has had with the Prime Minister since the start of the war. As it was brought up last time, he hadn't had one before this, before August 21st. In the book, Woodward reports that the president used an expletive when referring to Netanyahu and calling him a bad guy and other disparaging remarks. What's the White House response to that?
So I'll say first that, look, there's going to be many books that are written about this administration and many administration. It's a typical thing to occur. Nothing atypical about that. I'm not going to weigh in on particulars in each one of those books. What I can say to that question that you asked me, I cannot confirm. That is not something that I can confirm from here.
But does it speak to the relationship of President Biden and
And this is what I've said moments ago, Gabe, which is this president and the prime minister have known each other for decades. And their conversations, their relationship have always been honest and direct. And this 30-minute conversation that they had today was also direct and very productive. And, you know, you have heard the president say he doesn't agree with everything, and they have disagreements. But because they have had this decades-long relationship, they're able to be honest with each other. I think what matters here is that this administration, this president's commitment to Israel's security is ironclad, and that will certainly continue to be the case.
And quickly on another topic, on the reporting in that book that the former President Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin at least 7 times since leaving office. Is that appropriate?
So look, we're not aware of those calls. I certainly can't confirm any of those calls from here. But if it is indeed true, are we concerned? Do we have serious concerns? Yes. If it is true. Again, I cannot confirm any of those calls. Let's not forget, it is concerning, especially when we know the former president was lobbying against more aid for Ukraine to defend themselves against Russia's aggression. So if true, it is concerning, but again, I want to be really clear, I cannot confirm any of these calls.
But how is it possible that the intelligence community wouldn't know that a former president spoke with Putin?
I hear you, I just cannot confirm those calls happening.
The president has not been briefed on this?
I cannot confirm any of these calls were true. Okay.
Thanks, Doreen. Given that the president canceled his foreign trip, he would have left, I think, tomorrow morning for Germany and Angola. Can you give us just a sense of what the next few days will look like as he is monitoring Milton?
Yeah.
Will he be here the whole time probably? Is it possible he'll go to Delaware over the weekend? Are you guys talking about a possible trip to Florida at some point already?
So as you saw this morning, the president's going to continue to get hurricane briefings, not just on Milton and how we're preparing and what's happening. Obviously, we're all certainly very much focused. He's going to be laser focused on that, as well as the vice president. And so he'll continue to be updated, continue to get those briefings. I don't have any travel to read out to you at this time, whether it is to the impacted areas or outside of that. What I can say is the president is going to continue to be laser focused on the storms and what's happening, the preparations, how we are still certainly responding to the immediate needs of folks who have been impacted by Hurricane Helene as well. That is also very much in front of us and what we're trying to do and get done there. But that's going to be his focus. You'll continue to hear more from the president. I can guarantee you that over the next couple of days. But what we want to share very, very clearly with Floridians out there, it is important to evacuate. It's important to take this storm very, very seriously. It will be catastrophic. You heard from the FEMA administrator. She is headed down to Florida to be there with her team to assist on the ground as we are pre-positioning and preparing for the storm.
And just back to the phone call with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Did the president at any point in this phone call, he said that it was constructive, urge the prime minister to not take certain actions as they relate to either the situation in Lebanon or potential retaliatory strikes against Iran?
So look, I'm going to say what I said moments ago. This was a continued discussion on the leaders level. As you know, the staff level has been talking since last week, and it is certainly to continue to speak to the response on Iran's attack and a long list of other conversations and issues that they wanted to discuss between the two leaders. I don't have anything else to speak to or to say. There's going to be a readout shortly that will have a little bit more detail of that conversation. I'm just not going to get into specifics from here.
Would it be safe to say that the president now has a clear understanding of and a clear picture of what Israel's plans are for retaliating against
What I can
Iran?
tell you is they had a discussion. They continued their discussion on a response to Iran's attack. A discussion last week, a discussion that certainly started at the staff level, and now the two leaders were able to have a productive, a straightforward, honest conversation, as they tend to do. I don't have anything beyond that.
Thanks, Corinne. So Vice President Harris was also on that call between President Biden and Netanyahu. Can you just explain the role she played in that call? Did she just listen in? Did she weigh in on the issues as well?
I would refer you to her team to speak to that.
Just going back to the contents of the call, I know there's a readout coming out soon, but can you just describe the tone of that call in terms of was the president continuing to push back on issues that were being presented to him from Netanyahu?
It was direct and it was productive. That's what I'll share.
And can we say at this point if Israel has made a decision on how they want to respond?
They continue to have a discussion on Israel's response to the attack, to Iran's attack last week. I'm not going to go into specifics or details. There's going to be a readout shortly.
Okay, Michael.
Well, thanks, Corinne. Going back to your warnings against price gouging during the hurricanes, I'm just wondering, does the administration have any reports that that's actually happening, or was this just intended to be a preemptory strike to keep it from happening?
Well, I think certainly a preemptive attempt to keep it from happening. We're keeping a close eye on prices at the pump, at the airport, obviously, and also these hotel counters to just make sure that it doesn't happen. We tend to see this type of behavior during this time, and we want to be very, very clear. It is not okay. It is not. There's no time to do that. But certainly, when people are evacuating, when people are fearful about what's to come, especially with a historic hurricane like Hurricane Milton, we want to make sure that this is not happening. And that's why the Department of Transportation is on top of it. You have DOJ, FTC, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and so they're going to certainly take actions here. And to protect consumers, and that is what we want to make sure that we're doing. We're protecting consumers, we're protecting Americans, and so that's our focus. Okay.
Thanks, Corinne. Going back to the reporting in the Woodward book, if former President Trump has been speaking to President Putin, he's also had calls and meetings with other foreign leaders, both since he left office and since he announced his latest campaign for the presidency. Is the administration at all concerned that he appears to be running a shadow foreign policy while campaigning for president against the incumbent administration?
And so, look, I'm going to give you the same answer that I give to Amr here, which is, as we know, it's one president at a time. That is how we do our business here in this country, as you know very, very clearly. Look, and I said, if there was we cannot confirm this, if there was a call with President Putin, if that is indeed true, yeah, there are concerns, especially when you had the former president lobbying against Ukraine aid. Yeah, but I cannot confirm that. I cannot confirm those calls.
What about his meetings with foreign leaders such as Viktor Orban, who has opposed aid to Ukraine as well?
Look, I'm going to let the former president speak to his calls with world leaders. I'm not going to dive into that. But what I will say is that this president is focused at what's at hand, right? He had a conversation with the prime minister, 30 minutes, as I stated, half an hour. It was direct. It was very much honest. It was to show that, we're going to continue to have those discussions with Israel on how they're going to respond after Iran's attack last week. You saw what this administration, what this president directed his military to do, and our commitment to Israel's security continues to be ironclad. That is what I can speak to, and that is what we're focused on. And as you know, we have a hurricane, Milton, that's coming, and you heard from the president. So he has a lot to focus on, and as a leader, that's what he's going to do.
One more on the same topic.
Sure.
Traditionally, when former presidents do interface with foreign leaders, there is a process by which they can liaise with the incumbent administration to be possibly briefed on any policy concerns and possibly provide a readout of those conversations afterwards. Has former President Trump availed himself of any resources that might be available to him?
I don't have anything to speak to on that particular question, but I understand your question. I just don't have anything for you at this time. Okay.
Thanks, Karin. One more try on the BB call. Sorry.
Sure.
Did the president during this conversation address the latest comments Prime Minister Netanyahu made, saying that Lebanon could experience the same level of destruction as Gaza if they don't free themselves from Hezbollah?
So look, as I stated, they had a productive and honest conversation, but what I will say very clearly about that particular question is we cannot and will not see Lebanon turn into Gaza, into another Gaza. That is not what we want to see. The suffering in both Gaza and Lebanon adds even greater urgency, as you've heard from us, to our efforts certainly to end the conflicts and lay a foundation for lasting peace and security in the region. For over a year, if you think about what has occurred for over a year, you've seen Hezbollah has attacked Israel and rejected all off-ramps to this conflict. That's what you've seen. The suffering we are seeing in Lebanon could have been avoided if Hezbollah would have stopped its rockets attacks on Israel. So, look, I'm going to just reiterate what our position is when it comes to Lebanon. We are working our way back towards a ceasefire process, and that's going to create a space to negotiate a diplomatic resolution that only ends the fighting. That's what we're going to continue to do, and allow civilians from both sides of the blue line to return home. And we want to see that be done safely and certainly with security as well. And so that's what our focus is going to be on. Go ahead.
Thank you, Corinne.
I keep trying to call her. Let me let her go. Go ahead.
Thank you. So more on the Middle East.
Yeah.
At this point, does the White House understand that Israel is planning to attack energy facilities in Iran?
So we've spoken to that, and look, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. I'm not going to get into that from here. That has been asked of the president. That has been asked of us last week. What I can say is that we've had discussions, we're continuing discussions with Israel on their response to Iran's attack last week. I'm not going to dive into it. I'm not going to get into it from here. And so you saw that happening on the staff level, and now what you saw today was that happening on the leaders level. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals or speculations from here.
How would you describe right now the relationship between the president and Netanyahu?
I mean, look, they've known each other for decades. They've known each other for decades. And because of that, they're able to have that frank conversation. Because of that, the president's able to be honest, and they're both able to be honest to each other. And I think what I can report to you, and I've said this multiple times already, the conversation that they had today was productive, and it was direct, very much in line with many other conversations that they have had, not just in the past year, but over decades. And I think you've heard the president speak directly about his relationship with the prime minister. And so they've known each other for a long time. They've had a decades-long friendship, and I think that says it all for me. Go ahead, Mandy.
Thank you. I will say in the Middle East, you said that the administration will continue evacuating U.S. citizens from Lebanon as long as the airport is open. Do you have any guarantee that Israel is not bombing the airport?
Say that one more time. The last part, I didn't hear that.
Does the White House have any guarantee that Israel will not bomb Beirut airport?
So look, we're going to have very direct conversations with the government of Israel. About the shape and the nature as we speak about Lebanon specifically, right? And the ultimate scope of their campaign. And those conversations are going to continue. And I'm not going to get into specific conversations that we're having, but it will continue to be very direct. And that's what you've seen over the past year, and that's what's going to continue.
You also said that you're working towards a ceasefire and a diplomatic solution as the best outcome to the crisis. So how exactly will this materialize, considering that Israel has rejected a ceasefire, a diplomatic solution, and Hezbollah leaders have been killed one after the other? So who are you talking to when you talk about ceasefire?
Look, we want to see, as the president has said, we want to reach a ceasefire deal. That's what we want to see. And again, to provide space for that diplomatic resolution, those diplomatic conversations, and we want to see civilians on both sides to return back home. And on both sides of the border, obviously. And so those discussions continue. We have been very clear that those conversations have been continuing for some time now. And ultimately, we need a diplomatic resolution. We understand that. We have to have a diplomatic resolution, and that's the only way to achieve that long-lasting stability, right? When you think about security across the Israel and Lebanon border. And so that's what we want to see. It doesn't stop us from having those conversations, to having those discussions. Today, you heard from me, you heard from us that the two leaders spoke about an array of issues. They continued that discussion about how Israel's going to respond to Iran's attack from last week, and a bunch of other things that are incredibly important to both leaders. We'll have a readout shortly that will share a little bit more.
And one last question. In 2 weeks, there is already 8 hospitals in Lebanon are out of service. There is thousands of people being killed. There is 1 million forced to flee their homes, and the Israelis has calling for more troops. So how can this not be a scenario in Gaza that we have seen it unfolding? And second isn't that a mission creep? How do you agree with the Israelis on the outcome of the war if Netanyahu said we're going to continue regardless of what the White House more or less is saying, as long as we are not achieving our aims in the
Look, I'm going to say what I said moments ago. We do not want to see Gaza, what happened in Gaza happen in Lebanon. That's what I said, and that is something that we do not want to see. And as we've said, Israel does have the right to defend itself, and to go after their security threats that they see. But one civilian casualty is too many, and we've been very clear about that. they must take, Israel must take every feasible precaution to prevent civilian harm. And those are the discussions that we're going to continue to have. Look, you heard from us. We announced some humanitarian assistance for Lebanon for the challenges that they're dealing with. $157 million. We announced that last week to deal with those humanitarian challenges. And so we're aware of what's going on, and we've been very clear. We've been very clear on this. Okay, Jared.
Just two kind of clarifying questions, at least clarifying for me. They may be clear for others. But have you, in the talks that the president has had with the Israeli prime minister, sort of beyond just kind of the details or the readout, is there now an expectation that Israel would inform the administration in advance of action it's planning to take against Iran?
What I can tell you that the discussions continue on how Israel's going to respond to that attack, to the attack from Iran last week. Those discussions continue. I'm not going to get into details from here.
And then just quickly on the Lebanon, you talked about kind of the efforts being made to help Americans get out.
Yeah, Americans
so far,
who are in Lebanon.
Are those all commercial flights at this point, or are you talking about like some military charters or diplomatic charters as well?
Yeah, so what I spoke to was commercial flights, and what we're trying to do, get some seats on, certainly on these flights. I would refer you to the State Department. They did a very good laydown of this as well, and they're certainly helping to lead that effort, so I would refer you to the State Department on any specifics. Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you, Corinne. You're pretty consistent. You don't often speculate about hypotheticals, but today on more than one occasion, you've said that if it's true that former President Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin, then that's concerning.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, why is this administration willing to speculate about that in particular?
I said if it's true.
Speculation.
It's speculation, but if it's true, because I knew, right? We all knew that you all will have questions about for us about the national security concerns, about our thoughts about this, and so if it is indeed true, right? We're talking about President Putin here. We see what's happening in Ukraine, Russia's aggression in Ukraine. That's about democracy. That's about Ukrainians fighting for their freedom. And we've heard the former president say and lobby against the funding for Ukraine. So yeah, if it is true, it is indeed concerning, because we're talking about our national security here. So we want it to be very, very clear. And so I'll leave it there.
And then a second question.
Sure.
Does President Biden regret making Merrick Garland his Attorney General, as Mr. Woodward has reported?
Look, the reason I'm able to speculate, because that's a national security concern, I wanted to be very clear about that. But as I've stated many times before, there's going to be many books written about an administration. It's very much typical. And I'm just not going to comment on every specifics, every matter that comes up, or any particulars that come up.
And then a national security question.
Yeah.
Mr. Woodward also reports that according to intelligence reports, White House officials here believed that there was as much of a 50% chance that Russia would use a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine. I mean, is that 50% odds number, is that accurate? And if so, would this administration let the American public know that that kind of risk is real?
Again, I'm not going to speak to everything that is in a book, every particular. There's going to be many books written, and we understand that. It's not atypical, but I won't respond to every piece in the book. All right, guys, got to go. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that is the White House press briefing. The fire alarm just stopped, which is nice. I don't know where to begin. What a fucking day already. Day 17 of nonstop bad days. In 7 minutes, President Trump is expected on stage. It's titled President Trump Delivers Remarks in Scranton, Pennsylvania. There's a bunch of people excited to see the president. Go ahead and put this on the screen really quick. Let's get that ugly ass KJP out of here. Wham. There we go. So like I said, in about 7 minutes, he is expected on stage. He'll probably be a little bit late, because that's how things go around here. Hold on, I gotta check something really quick. Oh, I hope that's not the SWAT team coming up the stairs. I'm the only person in the building that can run, so this will be really interesting. Oh, wouldn't surprise me though. I'm telling you, I'm having a day. Well, on the menu today, if things roll the right way, after covering President Trump, unless he's really late. If he's really late, then we'll get into this. But our first video is titled Afghan National Arrested, Accused of Planning ISIS Attack on Election Day, which I think that's wishful thinking on the Democrats' part, but we'll see. Then we got an Alina Haba Haba video. It's titled Biden Was Nowhere to Be Found When Helene Was Happening. He's still nowhere to be found. And it's been a while since we had Alina Haba Haba. Then we got a video titled Journalist Shares How North Carolina Voters Can Vote Despite Helene Damage. We keep having those discussions, so I figured we would add that to the schedule. And then we have a video titled The North Carolina Mayor's Daughter Applied for Kamala's $750 FEMA payment, but was only approved for $300. Apparently, they didn't qualify. They didn't qualify for the relief. You know, no house or anything like that, but here's $300. Have a good day. Then we got a video titled Sheriff of North Carolina Rips Apart the White House and Kamala Harris, talking about basically they're handling it on their own and those guys are just in the way at this point. Then we got a really interesting video from the University of Kansas. A professor is saying on camera to his students that men who don't vote for Kamala Harris, vote her in for president, should be lined up and shot. Told all of his students that. And then at the end of the video, he's like, oh, by the way, strike that from the record because I don't want the dean of the school to hear me talking like that. So indoctrination all the way to college. That's nice. University of Kansas. Then we got a video that's kind of a funny video. I didn't really mean it to be the funny video or whatever, but apparently President Trump was on Andrew Schultz or Scholes or whatever his name is. He's a comedian. I don't know if it's a podcast or a TV show, but it's his deal. And President Trump was there being interviewed because he's such a badass. It's titled, I don't want to know what he's packing. And it's actually really funny. And our official funny video of the day is titled Adults Celebrate Birthdays Too. So, doesn't look like we're dropping frames in this very moment right now, so I guess it would be a good time to tell you guys about how my morning went. I had somewhere I had to be at 8 o'clock this morning at an establishment, and I went there. And as I was leaving there, an individual, a man in his late 40s, maybe early 50s, white facial hair, Hispanic descent, taller than me, driving a 2019, 2020 or newer white Chevy Suburban, decided to ride my ass all the way to the stop sign. I tried to let that go. There's a lot of people out and about because school and all that, and everybody's tired and mad. But when I pulled off from the stop sign, he pulled off with me. And I mean, he was all the way up my ass. And I was like, well, that's nice and interesting. So I gave it a little gas and took off a little bit. And when I came up to the next stop sign, he pulled all the way up in my ass again and then laid on the horn. And then he just held it. I thought he was going to kill his car battery, just sitting there holding it. I'm pulled up to a highway. I can't just pull out into traffic. So I'm sitting there, and I throw my hands in the air like, what the hell is your problem, dude? He rolls his window down and says, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to kill you. I'm going to find you, and I'm going to kill you. And then proceeds to lay on his horn. As the traffic clears, I pull out into traffic, and again, he just pulls out with me. And so now we're on a highway, and we're heading to a couple stop signs or a couple red lights ahead of us. And on the way, there's a state police department. So I'm pointing at the police department like, dude, you better chill the fuck out before you die in front of the state police. He thinks that we're going to go duke it out in the parking lot. So he goes to pull into the parking lot, realizes that I'm not heading that way. Burns through the grass, gets up next to me, pulls up next to me, and he's got his arms out the window and he's shouting at me and stuff. I slam on the brakes because I'm worried he's going to shoot through my passenger door and kill me. And so as I slam on the brakes, he slams on his brakes, gets behind me. I pull up to the red light. Again, he's laying on the horn. He's throwing his hands out the window and stuff. I pull off from the red light, come up to another stop sign. Again, he's right up my ass again. And I pull off from that stop sign onto another highway, and he follows me around the corner, doesn't stop for the stop sign, rides my ass the whole way. It becomes a 2-lane highway. I try to go 50 instead of 55 to see if this asshole will go around me. I'm in the right lane. He refuses to do so. He's like honking at me and stuff as we're going down the road. At this point, we're within blocks of my house. I can't pull into my house because this guy's going to follow me to where I live. I just happened to be unarmed, which is crazy because I take my gun with me to take out the trash, but I didn't bring it with me for this morning's events. So I'm unarmed, and I live in an apartment complex. So when I pull in, I have to make it inside the security building, meaning I have to run a block to the front door and then use a key to get in the door. This guy could run me over. He could shoot me in the back. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have my bulletproof vest with me. So I blow past the house and I go I come up to a gas station. And I go to pull in the parking lot of the gas station, and he lays on his horn again, but he continues on the road. I go around the back of the gas station to come out on the other side of the block, and as I do, he whips a U-turn, crosses the parking lot of the gas station, almost takes out the diesel pump, screeches his tires. As he's approaching me, we're about to have a head-on collision. I whip it to the left. He parks diagonally in the middle of the road, a block from the local school, and then gets out of the vehicle. I'm passing next to his car, facing an opposite direction. He walks around the vehicle. I pull out away from him because I don't know if he has a gun in his hands or not. And so I blow through a stop sign. I whip the corner, and as I do, I turn around and I'm taking video of him and the vehicle, and I'm trying to get his plate, but there's so much shit going on. I'm also ducked down in the vehicle because I don't want him to shoot through the back of my car and hit me and kill me. And so I pull out onto the highway. He gets into his vehicle, whips a U-turn, almost hits another car. I get out on the road. I'm racing to the house. I get out of the car. I come to the house. I put my vest on. I put my guns on. I go outside, and I don't see him anywhere. And so I'm sitting at the front door because I don't want to stand next to the car because it will identify that that's my car. What is going on outside? Holy, everybody's having a bad day. Don't see him anywhere. Neighbor comes up. He's like, "Hey, are you looking for someone named Adam?" And I was like, "No. Why?" And he's like, "Well, I'm waiting for a guy named Adam." I was like, "Okay, that's a cool story." He's like, "Well, who are you waiting for?" I was like, "I'm waiting for some guy that claims he's going to kill me, and I'm standing here to see if he's going to come shoot me." And he was like, "Well, I don't want to get shot." And I looked him right in the face, and I said, "You better get the fuck out of here then." So he just takes off. This guy just dips out. I don't see the guy who is chasing me in the white Suburban. I contact the police department. Well, I contact the sheriff's department. They told me they didn't want to deal with it and that I had to call dispatch. I called dispatch. They said they didn't have time to deal with it and they had to send me to the city police. So then I called the city police. He says he's willing to take a police report. 2 minutes into the police report, the call drops. I call back, can't get a hold of anybody. 20 minutes later, he calls me back, tells me that they're having problems at the office and their phones don't work. It took 5 phone calls in order to give them the stupid police report. Then he couldn't give me a phone number to text screenshots to from the videos that I had taken. So then he gave me an email, and I had to write up a whole email and send him all this bullshit and whatever. They told me that they're probably not going to do anything about it. And I told him I have to be back at that building tomorrow at the same time. I have a concealed carry permit. I just didn't happen to be armed that time. And the next time he puts my life in danger, I'm putting him in the morgue. And he said, "Well, that guy sounds like a threat, so more power to you," and then got off the phone. So that's how my morning went at 8 o'clock. Then we're having frames dropping again, even though I did a whole bunch of updates last night thinking that was going to actually fix the live. Didn't happen to fix the live. And then for the entire press briefing, I had to listen to a fire alarm that's going off somewhere near me, and I don't know if it's my neighbor's shit's on fire and my house is going to burn down, or if it's the building next to me. I don't know. All I know is everyone's dumber than I am, and that makes life frustrating. Anyways, hopefully you guys had a better morning than I did. This is what's going on for the... It's not a rally. I don't know what the fuck it is. This event with President Trump. So anyways, that's how it went. Like I said, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which was 4 minutes ago, President Trump is supposed to be delivering remarks in Scranton, Pennsylvania, but at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 hours from now, President Trump will be holding a rally in Reading, Pennsylvania, which I've never heard of that, but that's cool. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat just cuz, and if President Trump doesn't get on stage in the next couple minutes, we'll go ahead and get into this first video here. And if I hear any more screaming outside, I'm going to go out there and shut that damn door. Snooks, you did the right thing reporting it. I guess. I'm just trying to protect my ass, because chances are, if this guy sees me again, I'm going to have to put him in the ground. I don't want it to be that way, but I don't see any other way around it. Guess your penis didn't fall off. It could be worse. That's about the only thing that ain't happened yet, because everything else is I don't know. Like I said, day 17 of non-stop bad days. Guess you have it documented, so if you have to smoke them, you have a reason. The problem is that I'm considered a violent offender because I have violent crimes on my record. And so when I was explaining it to the officer, I had to tell him that. I had to be like, look, when you pull my record, you're going to think I did something to provoke this. But I did not. I did not provoke this guy. I didn't engage with him. I didn't do nothing. And so I'm waiting to see what this phone call looks like that could be happening in the next hour or so. We'll see. But whatever's whatever. From what I expect to happen, if this does go down, is I'm going to see him. He's going to see me. He's going to approach me. I'm going to let him to hammer my car. And as soon as he does, I'm planting both feet on the ground, turning his lights off. But I'll end up going to jail or prison because I'm considered a violent offender, so they will find a way to make money off of me. 0 dash cam time. Can't have that shit in Michigan. You will go to jail for obstruction of view. I had a box necklace that you can barely see when you're holding it in your hand, and I was pulled over and ticketed for obstruction of view because of that. These people want to hunt me down and kill me. It's the police. It's the people. I mean, it's this is why I don't leave the house. This right here is why I don't leave the house. I swear to God, I'm not one of everybody. I'm different. I'm oil and everybody else is water, and they can tell. I don't know what the fucking deal is. Sam, what's his problem? I don't know. I guess he's having a bad day and he wanted to take it out on me. The problem is that my car is the only one that looks that way in this area. And so I'm really worried he's going to target my vehicle, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Pumpkin, glad you're safe. There's crazies everywhere. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to leave the house. Melissa, he's a Camilla voter. I hope so. I was wondering if he was a Trump supporter thinking I was a liberal because I was in an Outback and he thought he was going to come home me, and instead he was going to end up under the dirt. But I don't know what it was. We'll see. What is your name? Kaczynski. Happy freedom to you. What's up, Alistair? Happy freedom. True American, careful. If you defend yourself, you will need lawyers who know they will deem you fully as self-defense. Yeah, True American, I don't have any of that. I'm on the verge of becoming homeless. I don't have the money for an attorney. I don't know how I'm going to eat today. So, we'll see how it goes. Crazy Silver Wolf. I had the craziest thing happen this morning. This guy in a Subaru was trying to run me off the road, and I tried pulling into the police department. It was crazy. Yeah, Silver Wolf. Libby Racer, I'm a hooligan and I'm armed. Fucking me too. I got 3 guns on the desk right now. That's why I said, I was like, is that the SWAT team coming up? Because that's exactly how my day's going. I thought about sitting here with my bulletproof vest on just in case shit goes left, but then you guys wouldn't be able to see my cool t-shirt I got on, so I decided against it. If I die, I die. At least I don't have to pay bills anymore. Shit. Buck, too many prisoners in this country. Well, and that's the other thing. I don't think he was an illegal. He was Hispanic, but that doesn't mean he's illegal. He didn't have an accent that I could tell. He wasn't slurring his words while he was screaming and threatening me. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, well. Sam, I'm just a recreational gynecologist. Yeah, pretty much. Snooks, I'm not a felon either. People just love to hate me. What's up, Hido? Happy freedom. Thank you so much, Cheddar Steve, for that $20 donation on Rumble. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. It says, have a burger on the Ched Man. You're a badass. Thank you so much. Well, hooligans, we might just get into this first video here. So we're waiting on President Trump. So what I'll do is I'll pull this up on the other monitor here. That way I can keep an eye on things in case he decides to come out. I think he is going to be coming out soon because normally they will like reschedule a time. And instead they just say in moments. He'll be out in moments. So I think we'll be able to get through this first video. It's really short and it's kind of, I don't know, it sounds very suspicious to me. It's titled Afghan National Arrested, Accused of Planning ISIS Attack on Election Day. And that sounds really weird to me. I don't know why. I just can't believe it. Like, I cannot believe that this is a real thing. I feel like this is Democrat bullshit. Anyways, before we get into it, I got to remind you guys really quick, because I didn't get a chance to put together the new t-shirts. We have these outraged hooligan t-shirts. It says, if you are not outraged, you are not paying attention. This design was created by Alistair because he's such a badass. It comes in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, coffee mugs, stickers, dog tags, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, all kinds of stuff. Today I got on the Hooligan 2A t-shirt. We got lots of items and lots of designs over on the merch store. I'm going to drop the link in the chat while we're watching this first video.
Fox News alert: an Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack on the behalf of ISIS. And the suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa days after the Biden-Harris administration crazy Afghan withdrawal. Brooke Sigmund has the details on that.
Yeah, Lawrence. So the FBI has been warning that an open southern border and the flow of illegal aliens into the U.S. means potential terrorists are entering the country. So the Justice Department says an Afghan citizen living in Oklahoma has been charged with plotting a terrorist attack on Election Day for ISIS. 27-year-old Nasir Tawhidi obtained weapons and ammunition to launch this attack. He arrived in the U.S. in September 2021, just days after the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The DOJ saying, quote, Tawhidi allegedly indicated that his attack was planned for Election Day. And in a post-arrest interview, Tawhidi allegedly confirmed that the attack was planned for Election Day, targeting large gatherings of people during which he and the juvenile were expected to die as martyrs. Former acting ICE Director Tom Homan says the risk of a terror attack brought on by the lack of security at the southern border. Listen.
What should scare the American people is because of what this administration has done, the Harris administration. How many more just like him are plotting an attack right now? Luckily, this guy was caught on some chatter, but we both know the intelligence community isn't perfect. They'll miss more than they get. So God help us, there is more than just this one in the country because of this administration.
Now, if convicted, Tawhidi faces up to 35 years in prison. Brian?
Unbelievable, but not unexpected. Right. Meanwhile, thank you, Brooke.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. They seem to be all bent out of shape about ISIS, but then when you got pro-Hamas protesters burning down shit on college campus, then they don't care about that. They don't care about that at all. That's totally fine. I'm going to show you guys what this asshole looks like. Just in case you spot this threat to democracy. Let me get this back up here. President Trump obviously is not on stage yet. We're waiting on him. We're waiting on him. Mm-hmm. Boom. This asshole right here is the guy that said he wanted to kill me and shit. Like I said, he got out of the car after parking it diagonally in the middle of the road. He's lucky I wasn't armed. I think we're both lucky, because he'd be dead and I'd be in the jail right now. Come on now. Do the thing. There we go. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans think about potential ISIS threat for election day. The only threat we have on election day is Democrats. I don't believe none of this stupid shit. I don't believe any of it. The Democrats are the real threat to our election day. What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom. Sam, imagine that. Terrorist in America. Yep. Thanks, Hyena Harris. Nah, Zero. I bought the Subaru 4 hours away from where I am right now. And it was more than a year ago. I don't think somebody waited 14 months to come do something to me. 4 hours away. I don't think they're related. What did it say? Scranton firefighters for Trump. Heck yeah. Oh, I was going to say, that guy don't look like a firefighter, though. Actually, neither of them do. Neither of them do, but that's okay. Support is support. Yeah, Snooks, he had plates on the vehicle. Yeah, Zero, I don't think that stuff's related. What's up, DCat? Happy freedom. DCat, I don't really see how that... Let me see. I don't want to see that dude, because if I have to go hunting... Yeah, DCat. Well, like I'm saying, just in case something happens, you'll know who did it. High Plains Drifter, make him famous. I'm waiting to see how the police... well, if you want to call that an investigation. But I'm trying to give them a chance. I documented the entire thing as much as I could. But the guy behind, he's behind me. He's got the lights on. So the recording is just stars in my back window because you can't see anything. But I'm narrating the event and describing everything that's going on as we were going down the road. But I mean, the officer pretty much, he flat out told me that he doesn't think anything's going to happen. I don't have him on camera doing anything wrong. So they're going to let us tango, and then they're going to use that as an opportunity to imprison me. Bibsy, would the lunatic scream might offer insight? He said, I'll find you and I'll kill you twice. And that was all I could understand. He was yelling other stuff out the window. I couldn't tell what he was saying, though. Bibsy, don't stoop to his level. If someone's going to kill me, I'm not going to just accept it. So, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're saying. Just die? No, I'm not going to just die. Guess who? Jeff's new side gig, side quest in IRL, True Crime Road Rage. Yeah. I wasn't doing that shit. I was tired. I was like, man, I can't wait to get to Wesco. I'm going to get me an iced coffee. I'm going to get a breakfast sandwich. I might even stay awake until Coffee with Hooligans begins. And I'll be on time this time. And that guy was like, what? You think you're going to be on time today? And that's how it went. Big fuck you, Jeff Mack. Yeah, every day. Every day. I swear, I'm going to show up at heaven. God's going to be like, you have a good time? Like, come on now. Come on now. There he is, the Orange Eagle. All right, hooligans. We're going to go full screen here, of course. Please grab the URL for whatever platform you're currently on right now and share it out. That way everyone can hear from the president. And like I said, he's going to be live again for an actual rally. This is not a rally, but there will be one tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be covering it.
to the hills of Tennessee.
Wow. Hello, everybody. You know, this was supposed to be a little gathering in like a plant. This was supposed to be just a little gathering. There's a lot of people outside trying to get in. Well, I want to thank everybody, and I want to say a very, very special hello to Scranton and also to Pennsylvania. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Turn this sucker up, please. Turn it up. Get this mic turned up, because I heard somebody say louder. I've never had that. I've never heard that before. Turn it up. It's great to be back in the beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Just 27 days from now, we are going to win Pennsylvania. We are going to defeat Lion Kamala Harris. Lion Kamala, she's a liar. We're going to make America great again, right? And as you know, early voting is underway, so when the polls open tomorrow, we're here, we're finally here. And you know, we're way up in your, I want to say, look, let's do it this way. The main thing is to win. Let's say we're 1 point down. I don't want to tell you. We're actually up. But I want to say, we're 1 point down. Everybody get to the polls so we get these horrible politicians out of there. We want to get rid of them. No, we're actually up in the polls in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Arizona just came out. We're up in Arizona very substantially. We're way up in the polls, and the only place we're down, New York Times has a headline that we're down a little bit. But they're the only poll, every poll, you got to see these polls, they're the best polls. New York Times is, we call it the failing New York Times. It's fake news. These people are sick. Do you remember in 2016, they had to do an editorial apologizing to their readers because they said, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. I swear he's going to lose. And then I won, and they lost thousands and thousands of, I love that. Going to happen again. No, I came on today to the plane, and Susie and everybody says, sir, you're up in this poll, you're up in this poll, you're up in this poll, you're up in every poll. And then I picked up the New York Times. It said, I'm losing by a whisker. They hope. They hope. No, they're fake news. You know, they're all fake news. These people, they're totally crooked. They're so crooked. They're the enemy of the people. They are. They are the enemy of the people. So get everyone you know and vote immediately, because that's the only one that counts, you know. November 5th, that's called our big poll. That's the real poll, right? And they're going to cheat like hell and everything else. You know, If they only cheat a lot, we're in great shape. But if they cheat in record-setting numbers, which they're capable of doing, I can't promise, but they are cheaters. That's the way they do. When they have their first meetings, our first meeting is, where would be a good place to go? How about Scranton? You know what their first meeting is? Their first meeting is, how do we cheat? How do we cheat? That's all they, because, you know, when you think about it, who can win with high taxes, open borders, allowing murderers to come in? You saw that last week? 13,099 murderers allowed to come in through them. Over 13, many of them have murdered more than one person. Is there anybody in the audience that's in that group, please? Because if they are, we want to get the hell out of here or get him out of here. If we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing. It's very simple. And your taxes will come down and your safety will go up. But we had an incredible evening here on Saturday. You probably heard about it. Maybe some did, maybe some didn't. I don't know. It was in a beautiful place called Butler, Pennsylvania. And we were celebrating the brave firefighter Corey, who sacrificed his life in the attack 12 weeks ago now already. And he really was. He jumped on top of his wife and daughters. He got hit, right? He got hit. Two other gentlemen, all Trumpers, I mean, to the nth degree, all Trumpers, but two others got hit too. They said they were dead. They weren't going to make it. And the doctors, you have very good doctors in Pennsylvania. I tell you, they're doing well. They're doing well. How many? I said, as I was getting up, before I even got up, I said, how many people were killed? Because, you know, it was wall-to-wall people. And I said, how many people were killed? They said, we think 3, sir. And I said, that's not good. And yet, I must tell you, it was like this, and this maniac was firing bullets all over the place. I heard him go right over my head, too, but it was just terrible. But they said, how many? They said 3, and then the 2 went, and they had unbelievable talent in the form of doctors, 2 separate doctors, and they saved their lives. But Corey was hit bad. He was hit hard. He was hit hard. But I thought what I'd do, you know, one thing, and I didn't want to say it the other night, it wouldn't have been appropriate, but one thing nice, we raised a little money for Corey, and you know what it ended up being? For his family. For his family, it's beautiful. Like, I think around $5 million, right? $5 million. And a friend of mine, a pretty wealthy guy, he said, do you mind if I give a check to the family of Corey? I said, you can do that if you want. How much? He said $1 million. And he handed me a check for $1 million. And then they raised another like $4 million. And we also gave some, or we were going to give some to the 2 gentlemen that got badly hurt. They got badly hurt. But we raised $4.5–5 million for the family. So I think it's good. And that's out of love for what they do. I mean, you know, this is the greatest movement in the history of our country, and we have to take care of our people, right? We have to take care of our people. You know, it is true. And, you know, look at all that fake news back there. You know, I say that all the time. And, you know, if I'm a little bit off with the statement, they say, Donald Trump, you know, he lied, it was terrible. Now, you have lying Kamala. She lies about everything, including where she worked. Remember? I worked so hard at McDonald's, it was unbelievable. I stood over the French fries all summer, winter, fall, spring. She never worked there, she lied. You know the beauty of that? They'll say, oh, it's so terrible to bring that up. It's so simple. No, David, the beauty of that, it's so simple. It's so easy to understand. She said she worked like a dog in McDonald's, and it never happened. She didn't work there. That's better than some complex, long story that I have to, before we get to the fact that she's a no-good liar. But you know what's more important about her? I don't like her. You know what's more important about her? She's just led the worst rescue operation in history in North Carolina. The worst. And we have another big one coming in, but the worst, the one in North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia. It was pieces of Florida got hit. I mean, it's incredible. The worst ever, they say. They had no money. You know where they gave the money? To illegal immigrants coming in, many of whom are killers, many of whom are drug dealers, many of whom are gang members, and many of whom came out of prisons from all over the world. You know, they come out of prisons all over the world, and they drop them in our country. And you know that the prison population all over the world is down because they put them in our country. They come from the Congo in Africa, many prisoners from the Congo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's lovely to have you. They come from the Congo. They come from the Middle East. They come from Asia. They come from all over the world. They also come from South America, but not as many as you think, a lot. But, you know, everyone thinks they come from a few countries in South. No, they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping them in our country because they think we have stupid people leading our country. And on that, I agree with them. Sleepy Joe. Although Joe's looking pretty good lately, I tell you, he's looking pretty good compared to Kamala, I say, right? First time, I said, you know, this guy's starting to look sharper. He's starting to look sharper because we're comparing it, and he's angry at her, and he hates her. The only question is, I think he hates her almost as much as he hates me. No. And I think he might be willing to. He can't take much more. It was an overthrow, okay? It was an overthrow. And he's having a hard time saying, you know, he did it voluntarily. He didn't. They pulled out, you know what they did, right? Article what? 25. That's what they did. And they said, you're sick. You're not going to go on. He got 14 million votes. He got 14. Think of it. He got 14. She got none. And this was really, this was an overthrow. This is the first overthrow. Or you could call it a coup. Do you want to call it a coup? This was the first coup in the history of America. David, you're an expert on this stuff, right? Wouldn't you say? First coup in the history of America. But look, I say to all Pennsylvania patriots, we have to, I just said, do me a favor, you got to see this, because we had over 100,000 people in a beautiful area, but not exactly highly populated. They came from all over, 100,000 people on Saturday night. Take a look. That's something, huh? Isn't that something? We have some very big ones coming. We have some very big ones coming. We just rented Madison Square Garden. We're going to make a play. We're going to make a play for New York. Hasn't been done in a long time. It hasn't been done in many decades, but we're going to make, how could New York be run worse than it is, right? With all the problem, everything is corrupt in New York, and we're going to make a play, and let's see. I mean, I think that, you know, the migrants have taken over Madison Avenue. They've taken over Fifth Avenue. They've taken over the parks. The kids can't play Little League. You know, it sounds like a trivial thing. It's a big deal when you have a son that's a Little League player and he can't play. So we're going to go Madison Square Garden. We went to the Coliseum, Nassau Coliseum. We could have filled up the Nassau Coliseum 3 times. It was incredible. We left there a few weeks ago. It was incredible. So we're doing Madison Square. We're going to go the arena in Atlanta, if we can get it. We're going to go the arena in New Jersey, if we can get it. You have to get it. But we're doing arenas because the crowds are so big. And we're making a play for New Jersey. We're making a play for Virginia. We're making a play for New York. New Mexico. Minnesota, where this lunatic comes from. I'm doing well, and you know why I'm doing well in Minnesota? Because he's running. They actually, it's supposed to be the opposite way, right? If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, she will annihilate the Pennsylvania energy industry, plunging communities across the Commonwealth into darkness and despair. That's what's going to happen. Your jobs will be down, and your salaries will follow. Congratulations, everybody. It's not going to let it happen. We're not going to let her destroy. You know, she destroyed San Francisco. We're not going to let her destroy this country. She shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be. You know, how would you like to be me? We spent $150 million destroying Biden, which wasn't that hard, actually. All you had to do is hold up his record. But we had the debate, and then after the debate, he was down so much, and they went to him, and that's when they went to him. So we get rid of him. This is like a fighter. A fighter's doing badly. He's losing badly. And Dana White says, well, you know what I'll do? I'll put in another fighter to fight. You got to take two people. And so now they put this total Marxist, communist person in there. But people have figured it out. She had a very bad day yesterday, and we're going to talk about that. She had a bad day. She had a bad day. Kamala Harris was one of the original sponsors of the socialist Green New scam. You know that. Where they want to spend $93 billion. 93. No. They want to spend, actually, she's spending $93 billion in a short, but their ultimate plan is for $94 trillion to be spent. 94, listen to this, that's more than China and the rest of the world could spend if they really wanted to in 25 years. 94 trillion, we're going to clean the air so that when China comes here and takes us over, they'll have a nice, clear atmosphere, because that's what they're doing. They're sacrificing our military and everything else. These people are crazy. She said repeatedly that she wants to ban fracking her whole life. We will ban fracking. We will stop. You know, I flew over some of those beautiful windmills. They're falling down, by the way. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. That gorgeous, beautiful Pennsylvania countryside. They got these big, ugly suckers hanging down. They're rusting and rotting. Half of them weren't spinning, and the ones that were going so slow. They were going, it's not too windy, but, you know, they're going like slow. The other ones were just dead. But they're all rusting and disgusting looking. And then, you know, the environmentalists say that it's also, very importantly, the most expensive form of energy there is. You cannot get more expensive. The wind, it sounds so wonderful. The wind is bullshit. I'll tell you, it's horrible. So expensive. It's just too expensive. It doesn't work. All of that to do, you know, 1/10 of 1%. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. You remember when I used to say, darling, I want to watch our president tonight on television. And the husband looks, I'm sorry, dear. The windmills aren't wind. There's no wind tonight. You can't watch, darling. We're not going to be watching tonight. Maybe we'll catch him another time. No, we have to be careful. We have to be smart. We're going to lose our country. These people are crazy. They're crazy. They're damn crazy. We're going to get out. We're going to vote. We'll get it cleaned up. But if we don't clean it up now, it's going to be too late. I really believe it. We don't clean it up now, it's going to be too late. She sponsored a bill to impose a 100% ban on gasoline-powered cars and trucks. You know that, right? 100%, there's none. Even though we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, by far, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. Let's go electric. Let's do this. They want to go now hydrogen. They want a hydrogen car. You know what the problem is? When they blow up, you are unrecognizable. If this beautiful young woman is in the car, drive it, and the hydrogen car, if it blows up, you are unrecognizable. You with a nice Trump sign. Is that Trump? Stand up, let me say. Oh, I like her. I like her. I will not allow her to go into a hydrogen car. They don't blow up that often. They were saying, that, yeah, but they don't blow up that often. Oh, great. Thank you very much. And as we speak, Kamala is crushing Pennsylvania with a natural gas export ban. You know about that, right? Designed to choke the life out of your fossil fuel industry. Listen to Kamala in her own words very recently.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all. If they fail to act as President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. I am offering a Green New Deal that has been described as one of the most aggressive and progressive.
Well, he's going to bring the Green New Deal up for a vote.
Yeah, I will vote for it. It is a resolution. I believe that the underlying principles behind behind it are sound and important.
What is the solution for voters who have jobs and interests in the fossil fuel industry?
Giving the workers an ability to transition into the jobs of the future.
Can we afford it?
Of course we can afford it. It's not about a cost.
Kamala Harris pushed the far-left Green New Deal. That means huge new taxes, increased utility bills, and banning gas cars.
That's why I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Kamala just don't give a frack.
Kamala's fracking ban would kill jobs and raise gas prices. Kamala doesn't give a frack about you. Only President Trump will bring back Trump's strong economy.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Thank you. So when I'm president of the United States, and we did one great job, we did great in 2016. We actually did much better in 2020, but we're going to be very careful. We're not going to let that happen again. On day one, I will tell Pennsylvania energy workers to frack, 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 and drill, 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 baby, drill. We're going to frack, frack, frack. We will have energy independence and energy dominance as we did just 4 short years ago. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Can you believe? Now we get our energy from Venezuela. What's that all about? From Venezuela. Isn't that wonderful? But if Kamala is reelected, your costs will go up and your lights will go out. That's what's going to happen. These stupid people. It's hard to believe. You know, you get angry because they're just, sometimes you get, and you want to be lighthearted, right? And we have a great audience that people that love the country, people that built the country. You built the country. And then you see these people, they want to destroy it. And by the end of your speech, you're furious. You know, you're furious because all the stuff that we're saying, it's true. They want to destroy the country. Remember, she will never, ever let you frack. You're not going to frack. If she won, you're not going to frack. She's been against it her whole life. She just did this for an election. Even now, Kamala's Green New Deal mandates are regulations that are impossible to enforce. As an example, forcing power plants to shut down all across the country. More than 50 plants have recently been closed. So she took office, and they are not going to be replaced. And you know, all you have to do with her is say, like, all the things. She's going to do this, she's going to do that. Why the hell didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? All of a sudden, she likes walls. You know, I built over 500 miles of wall. It kept us. We had the greatest border in history. 4 years ago, we had the best border in our country's history, and that included human trafficking, mostly in women, by the way. That includes, so when women say, oh, I don't know if I like Trump, I was the one, that is the most heinous thing. Human trafficking, mostly in women. Gee, I wonder what that's all about, right? And then they say, oh, I don't know, Kamala's not going to protect anyone. They've allowed this country to be poisoned at our border. And you know, a lot of people say, and this is not part of the deal, but I like to go off teleprompter if you don't mind. I actually haven't, I don't think I've been on it yet. They're waiting for me. At some point, I'll be on it. But you know, they're doing these things. Nobody can understand it. It doesn't make sense, like men playing in women's sports, like open borders where criminals are allowed in. And literally, by the time, I must be very good as a motivator, because by the time I finish my speeches, every time I'm angry as hell, because I can't believe what's happening to our country, what they're doing to our country. Last year, Pennsylvania's largest coal-fired power plant shut down in Homer City, throwing hundreds and hundreds of workers out, just devastating. They got nothing. A small little community of 1,800 people. Does anyone know where Homer is? Homer? Huh? Right? Stand up. Let me see you. Look at that. Are you a familiar? Are you the man? I remember. You know, that guy's become famous. Wow. Are you the guy, right? Behind me? Right behind me? You're the guy that was looking, you're looking. You know the guy? Oh, I love this guy. What's your first name? What's your name? This guy, he became like more famous than me because, you know, okay. Do we have time? Yes. The hell with these things. They're boring. Very boring. Now, this guy, He was the guy. No, I'm looking at him in the audience. I see him. But when the shots were fired, typically crowd control people, everyone flees. Now, in all fairness to the people sitting here, we had a tremendous crowd that horrible day, actually, horrible day. But we had a tremendous crowd. He was behind me with a group of people like, 2-3 times the size of this. It was bleachers. But 99% of the audience was out there. But this guy was standing up. So they say that when a shot is fired in a stadium like a soccer game, everyone, they call them stampede. They stampede, they get out, and a lot of people get killed. They get crushed, they get stepped on. Nobody left there with the big crowd or there, but him. I mean, I don't want to say in particular because nobody left. Nobody left those stands. Normally, and there were a lot of shots being fired. There were 8 shots being fired right over me. But what happened is we look back, and it's such a famous thing now, and there's one guy that's standing. I didn't know you were going to be here, and I didn't know he was going to be here. They gave you a good seat. They should give you a good seat. So listen to this. Right? So this man, and he's back a few rows, and next to a woman who was very brave too. And he's standing, he's not only not leaving, he's standing up. And he's looking, he wants to find it, because he knows. He saw a lot of blood all of a sudden, and he knew what happened. And all he cared about is, I want to get that guy. But then the sniper, our sniper, took him out. And by the way, and the local police too, they did a good job. The local police did a good job. But that guy, I said, there's a guy, David, I said, there's a guy I want in the foxhole, right? We want him in the foxhole with me if we're ever in a foxhole, because he stood up, he didn't care about the bullets, he was standing, all he wanted to do is find that guy. He said, there's a guy over there. And you had some other people too. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Great honor. Thank you, man. I love people like that. I love people like that. He's like a movie star. He's become a movie star, I'm telling you. We love him. The head of the plant at Homer City said that Kamala's EPA had imposed a, quote, excessive economic and operational burden. It wasn't possible to keep it open. It's being done on purpose. They're taking plants that are perfectly good, that are not polluting any more than anything else would, and they're closing them up, and they're forcing you to use energy that's 10 times and 20 times more expensive and doesn't even work. One local businesswoman said that her life had been turned upside down by what happened, and a local union leader called the closure, quote, absolutely devastating and totally unnecessary. And I hope whoever owns that plant can just keep it around for a few months, just keep going, because we're going to let that plant go for a long time, okay? So you got to tell them, Homer, you don't have long to go. I actually told the people in North Carolina who have been just devastated, I told them, I said, look, just hang in for a few months. It's tough to say, hang in for a few months. But we take office on January 20th. I said, everything will be beautiful once I take office. Everything's going to... They spent all their funds. They have no funds to take care. They have no funds. They have no workers. They have no nothing. FEMA, we had such a good FEMA. FEMA was great under Trump. That I can tell you. We had tremendous success. Under these demented and self-destructive Kamala Harris policies, Pennsylvania electricity prices are up 50% and are projected to rise by another 50% this year. So you're going to be up 100%. Does anybody mind? No, you're making a contribution to the environment, right? Except you won't have any money left, you won't have a house left, you won't have a country left, you won't have a commonwealth left. Even the grid operators themselves say that if the insanity continues, Kamala will crush the electrical grid of the United States of America. But we will not let her do it, will we? We're not going to let her do it. She's bad news. She doesn't even know where the hell she is. They ask her a question, she's like a vacuum. What? No, I don't want to be nice, Somebody said, you should be nicer. Women won't like it. I said, I don't care. No, they say that. A guy came up to me today. He said, "Sir, you really should be nicer to her. The women won't like it." The women want safety, and the women want to have a country that they can be proud of, I think. Anyway, so today I make Pennsylvania this promise. I will stop the energy price hikes. I will stop the plant closures immediately, and we will restart the plants that Kamala has very cruelly closed. I mean, you know, they don't know. There are thousands of jobs involved, people that have worked there for 25 years or longer, and we're not going to let it happen. I will terminate the Green New scam immediately. I want the cleanest water. You know, I don't know if you know, in my 2 last years, we had the cleanest water we've ever had, we had the cleanest air we've ever had, and we had the most jobs and the most factories working that we've ever had. And the jobs they picked up were what called bounce-back jobs. They were bounce-back. They were the people that took off for the COVID, the gift, I call it the China virus because I want to be accurate, and they bounced back. I will end the destruction of our electrical grid. They are destroying our grid. It's already in bad shape, I'll tell you right now, but they are destroying. We'll make, isn't it amazing? We don't have any electricity, but they want to go all electric cars. Think of that. Now think, these are, I'm just thinking, we're talking about all electric, and I love electric cars. You know why? Because I think Elon is great. But you know what? I like them for what the market is. There's a market. I think they're great. I think it's incredible. But the long distances and they are more expensive to make, and a lot of them are going to be made in China. But you know the amazing thing about Elon Musk? He went to that rally. I think he had the greatest time he's ever had. Did you see him? He was jumping around. He was so happy. You know, he's always like, I envision him, he's sort of a reclusive kind of a guy. He's incredible. He's a total genius. We have to take care of our geniuses. But he comes up, and he's looking at this crowd. He's never seen anything like it. And he started doing, like, jumping jacks and stuff. No, he was just happy. I said, what's he doing back there? I was just giving him a quick introduction. He had a great time. And, you know, he got a black hat. I didn't even know we made black hats. And it said, "Make America Great Again," but it was very low, you know, very sort of understated, but a black hat. He loves that hat, and he called it Dark MAGA, right? Who thinks of this? Dark MAGA. And I called him, I told him, "Thank you very much. We sold like 10,000 hats in the last 2 days." I didn't even know we made that hat. Now I find out it's like the hottest thing going, Dark MAGA. No, he's fantastic, and he's gonna do a lot. He's gonna be involved. He's great, and he's gonna be involved because we have so much fat in this country. We have so much waste and fat and fraud. But he's also, I will tell you, you know, there is the funny thing with Elon. He never, with all I talk about electric cars, and I'm totally for electric cars for the, you know, whatever the buyer wants to buy, that's good. But if you can't force them down people's throats, you can't do that. Like the mandate, we're not doing mandates. So you can't do that. So just so you understand, so he never wants, and he's a friend of mine. He's great. He endorsed me. He endorses me so much. We have to get him. Trump. We're gonna lose our country if Trump. You know, he's in Pennsylvania now campaigning, Elon Musk, because he feels so strongly. But you know the amazing thing. A big company is Tesla. It makes great cars. Great. I mean, it made really amazing cars. He never once said, "Could you ease up on the electric thing?" You would think he would have said, "Hey, listen, do me a favor. I could take it out pretty easily, right? It's a sentence. It's a sentence in a speech." But he never asked me to, because I think he knows I'm right. He's going to do great, and there's people that like him. I like him, too, for certain applications. But he never think of it. And he's close to me. He never said, "Do me one favor, just sort of low-key." I would, if I were him, I'd be saying, "Hey, listen, Trump, do me a favor. Don't mention electric cars again. That you're going to do away." And we're not doing away. We're going to have whatever the market wants. We're going to have gasoline power. We're going to have hybrids. The hybrids are great. They're working good. We're going to have everything. We will make Pennsylvania an energy supplier to the entire world, and I will cut your energy prices in half, 50%, 50, within 12 months of taking office. Your prices will be cut in half. Now, she, on the other hand, if her mandate, you look, number one, you won't have any energy because they can't produce enough. No matter what they did, they can't produce under what she wants to do. But even if they did, your prices are going to be double, triple, quadruple. You're not going to be able to afford them. We have, we have more liquid gold than any country in the world. It's going to be so quick and so easy to do. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than any country in the world. And we're going to take advantage of it if that's okay. And it's pure, sweet, beautiful stuff. But for that to happen, the people of Pennsylvania have to tell Kamala Harris that we've had enough. We think you're a horrible person. We think you're a liar. And right? We think you're a liar. We think you're not a smart person, and we're tired of having stupid people run our country. And we're going to say, Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Get the hell out. Despite all of the devastation she's caused your Commonwealth, and, you know, she said yesterday she has no regrets. Did you see that? You'll see it in just about 2 seconds. Go ahead, put it on.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
I think the other one asking the question is dumber than Kamala, so that's like, she's a dummy. I watched her over the years. That is one dumb woman. Sorry. I'm sorry, women. She's a dummy. The only one that agrees with that more than me are the women in the audience. So think of this, what she said. No, I can't think of anything. Did you see she froze? Did you see where her teleprompter went out? Her teleprompter went out, and she said it was 32 days or something before the election. So she said 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. She was freaked out. Thank God that sucker went back on. That would have been, I don't know what she would have jumped off the stage. Now, when you do this stuff, you know, I would say probably about 15% of the time, the teleprompters, they go out. And either you, like, can you imagine it goes out for Joe Biden? He's no good with the teleprompter blazing, right? No, it's gone out with him a couple of, you know what he does? He stops, looks around, and he walks off. But he can never find the stair, so it's a problem. He's looking around for stairs. Has anyone seen a stairway? We have more stairs than these platforms. I don't know what the hell it is. It must be a fire problem. There's like 6 stairs. And do you ever notice he can never find his way off the platform? Secret Service does a great job in that respect. They come up, they get him, they walk him off. But he looks better, I'm telling you. As I said, he looks better now than I've ever seen him looking. He's angry. He's angry at her. There's going to be an explosion before the election with them. Those two are going to be, there's going to be an explosion. Did you see he held a news conference right in the middle of her one big event that she's had in about 2 weeks? He got up and held a news conference. He walked into the room. Nobody ever does that. He walked into the room and, this is a news conference. Oh. And then he just died after, but it didn't matter. Can you believe that our country is being run by these people? Can you believe it? So she said she had no regrets, everything great. She'd do the same thing as this guy, right? This really sad, pathetic guy. So after the surrender of our energy independence, the Afghanistan, horrible, most embarrassing moment in history. We lost 13 soldiers, great soldiers. We left billions and billions of dollars behind. We left Americans behind. You have Americans right now in Afghanistan, and they cannot be happy, right? Many are probably dead. The border invasion, right? The border invasion. How about the 13,099 illegal aliens convicted of murder? They're roaming free. That's okay. In other words, these are all things that are okay. These are all things that are okay. How about, to me, the worst of all, because it's not even imaginable, she's lost, during her 3.5 years, 325,000 migrant children. They're gone. Nobody knows where they are. Many are dead. I would say most are dead. We don't know. We probably won't find out. But many are dead. Most are dead. Many are in sex slavery. Many are in slavery. But there are many dead. 325,000 young kids. Think of it. You could fill up Yankee Stadium many, many times. Think of that. Many, many times. 325,000. They're gone. Nobody, the parents want them back. Nobody even talks about it. The fake news doesn't talk about it. It's this, in terms of humanity, this is bigger than anything you can even imagine, right? This is the biggest thing. And she thinks it's okay because she said, no, I don't think I changed anything. All of this stuff would have stopped. The worst inflation in the history of our country, costing everybody a minimum of $29,000 per family, price hikes that cost a typical family. Think of that. No, she wouldn't change. $29,000. People don't have that money. The inflation has really destroyed the middle class. The elderly and people on fixed incomes are decimated. Just think of it, our middle class. How about Ukraine? If I were president, there never would have been a war. You wouldn't even know what Ukraine is. There would have never been a war. Putin wouldn't have done it. Putin wouldn't have done it. And that was okay with her. You remember what she said? She said, no. She didn't know where the hell she was. She said, no, I'm fine. No. I wouldn't have done nothing. How about the October 7th attack on Israel? That would have never happened. How about the fact that the United States is a laughingstock all over the world, right? How about she failed on the witch hunts against her political opponent, me? The first time that they've ever done that. They do it in other countries, like in third world, banana republics. The witch hunts, I call it the witch hunts against Trump. The one in Florida was thrown out, and yet Biden's document case, they ruled on him. They said he's guilty, right? Oh, he had documents for 50 years. He shouldn't, and I had the Presidential Records Act. I was totally allowed to do it. Anyway, my case was won. He lost his case. What they said is that he's incompetent, essentially. They said he's got no memory and all sorts of other things, and therefore we shouldn't send him to court. They said he wasn't fit to stand trial, but he's allowed to be the President of the United States. Okay? No, think of that. Here's the ruling. He's not fit. He's got no memory, and he's in trouble. But he can run the presidency, but he cannot stand trial. They released him on the basis of that. The trillions of wasted dollars on the Green New scam, all that money is not only wasted, it set us way back, way back. And the worst hurricane response since Katrina. She doesn't want to have a do-over with what's happened to North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all the states that we just mentioned. Kamala Harris could not think of one thing that she would do differently. And you know, it's strange, because when I saw that question, I said, oh, this is going to be a long answer. Because she could have done it in a nice way. I wish I would have done this on the border. I wish we would have closed up the border. I wish we didn't have the horrific acts of violence against all of those children and all of the things. She could have really done. And I said, well, this will be a good answer. She didn't know what the hell to say. But think of it. It was a softball question. It was meant that she was, and she said, no, I would have done everything. So all of the agony, all of the suffering, all of the inflation and the border and the criminals coming into our country, she wouldn't have done anything different than this guy that should have really never been president, in my opinion, should have never been president. So she said that There'd be nothing. And to me, that is a disqualifying answer. That should disqualify her from even running. If that's going to be the case, she should be disqualified from even running. She's an incompetent person. She's grossly incompetent. She cannot be trusted. And she is totally ill-equipped to do the job of being president of the United States. Let me tell you, I know all of them. I know President Xi. I know Putin. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Biden, he said, oh, that's a tough situation in North Korea. We had no problem. I got along with him very good. A little rough start, right? Remember? Little Rocket Man. Remember when he said, I have a red button on my desk? That was a very threatening sound. I have a red button on my desk. I said, I have a red button on mine too, but mine's much bigger and mine works. And then he called me and he asked for a meeting, and we had a meeting. First time anyone's ever met. I said to Barack Hussein Obama, has anyone ever heard of Barack Obama? Barack? Remember Rush Limbaugh? He used to go, Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. No. But he told me that the toughest thing when we sit before it's a beautiful thing, actually. You know, the president sits with a new president coming in. He said the biggest problem we have by far is North Korea. We didn't have a problem with North Korea, believe me. You may have in the future if you have stupid people running our country, but we had no problem. I met with him. It was a big deal that I met with him a second time. We were on our way to doing something fine. But he's got, he's got tremendous nuclear power. Somebody let him get there. Our country just went through 4 years of really a horror show, and we cannot have 4 more years. We just had a man who's grossly incompetent as our president, and now we have a woman who is actually, in my opinion, worse than him. I believe she's worse than him. And we can't allow it to happen. Now, I had this done because, our military is great. I knocked out ISIS. They said it would take 4 to 5 years. I did it in about a month, right? And we knocked them out. General Raisin Kane, this is a tough guy. Our military is great. And then I go on woke. You could put them in a woke room and scream at them for 2.5 years. They'd walk out and they'd say, let me at them. These are not woke people. But I had this little clip, and I thought you'd find it very interesting. It's the military of the past. Let's call it the Trump military, compared to the very woke military that we have now. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the number!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah! I hear it and I know that I know you wanna take. You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are puke. You are the lowest form.
I'm gonna watch this shit today.
You're not even human fucking being. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I...
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
Working for Uncle Sam. I love working for Uncle Sam. Lets me know just who I am. Lets me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
So, it's a little exaggeration, probably really not that much, actually. But what's happening to our country is we have to preserve our country. Pennsylvania cannot let this woman become the president of the United States. She's the taxing queen. She's going to raise your taxes. where you're going to be at least paying at least $3,000 a year more. Take a look.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
It's just a new way of looking at things to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
that's an old. It's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes, even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be in that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, carbon fee.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up.
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up.
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, we're going to cut your taxes. I've been involved in politics, not that long on this side, but I've been involved. I've never seen anybody campaign and we're going to raise your taxes. That's what they're doing. The world has gone crazy. It's just going. But David, we're going to cut taxes. Do you agree? David is going to win. You got to get him. You got to get him. I want him to come with me, please. He's great. He'll be one of the best. A real hero. Kamala will deliver a 1929-style depression, not recession. I will deliver lower taxes, lower regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, and the greatest economy in the history of the world, which we had 4 years ago. We had that. We were going up. Nobody's ever seen anything like what we had. I was shaking hands with people back. I said, how you doing? We did great 4 years ago, 5 years ago, my company. I made all my money, and now we're not doing good. Everybody said we're not doing well. The taxes are too high. The interest rates, we can't borrow money at 10%. They were at 2% with me. Now they're at 10%, but they're not really because you can't get money at 10%. So that means they're higher. 12. How about 13? How about 15? So it means it's much higher. It's not 10%. You can't get the money. Nobody can get the money at 10%. We will pass tax cuts for workers like you haven't seen before. And we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great, 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 great seniors. Right? No tax. Take a look at this comparison chart. There's nothing like a chart. It's actually not my favorite chart. I have another one that's much more of a favorite, but that's okay. You see that? We went on every, look, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is, this. We shouldn't even have to campaign. This should be an automatic. To bring jobs back and factories back and wealth, all we want to do, we want to bring wealth back to Pennsylvania. We want to bring wealth back to our country. We will have a 15% made in America corporate tax rate. You know, I took it from 39% to 21%. Everyone said it couldn't be done. By the way, Steve Moore was a great guy. Do you know who Steve Moore is? Great economist. He wrote a book
The Trump Miracle. And the book is #1 book, just went out. You know whose book is also like #1? Melania. Her book is #1. Her book is #1. I got a call today. You know who called me? Bill O'Reilly, he called me. Bill O'Reilly. Do you know Bill O'Reilly? I like Bill O'Reilly. He's a good man. He's a good man. And he went through it. But he's very good, and he's very good with books. He said, yeah, Melania replaced me as #1 on the list. I said, that's the way to go. But no, she did a great book. Yeah, go out and get that book. That's a good one. That's a good one. I think she treated me well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it, right? I would stay so far away. I said, do me a favor. I just wouldn't mention it, but now I do. Cutting the tax from 21% to 15%. So we got it down to 21. And then I said, you know what? If we bring it, 21 makes us pretty competitive with the world. Just so you know, our companies are all trying to be stolen. And a lot of companies are lower than 21. So I want to bring it lower. And I wanted to originally. I got it down to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. Got it approved by Congress. But now I want to get down to 15, but only for those companies that make their product in America. Isn't that a good idea? You make your product in America. In other words, you're creating jobs. Think of that. Vivek, is that good? How about that? You know, I got calls from very smart people like Vivek, and they said, where the hell did you ever come up with that idea? How simple is it? Your tax is going to go down from 21% all the way down to 15%, which makes us just about the most competitive. I think there's very few. I mean, no great nation, no big nation. We get it all the way down, but you have to make your product here. And I got a call from Wall Street geniuses. Who the hell gave you that idea? That's a great idea. These guys, that's all they do is they think, nobody ever thought about that. We're taking it down from 21 to 15. And then we have to do something very important. Those who don't make their product in America, and there are those that come in, like China and various others, they will be forced to pay stiff tariffs to, and remember this is a privilege. William McKinley, this is a privilege because it's a privilege of competing with our cherished companies. So we have companies, we have to protect them. And it's a privilege of stealing our jobs, our treasure, and our wealth. They're going to come in and they're going to have products, and they're stealing from us because they're taking our jobs, they're taking our companies, they're taking our wealth. And that's fine because they have to compete too. But now they're going to have to pay for it. And they'll have to pay, and they'll pay hundreds of billions of dollars in pretty stiff tariffs. But what we're doing is we're preserving our companies. But we're doing something more important. They don't have to pay either, because all they have to do is build their plant in the United States of America and hire many of the people in this room. It's very simple. Right? David, are you on board? He's on board. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. If he said no, I don't know if I could have been so enthusiastic about you. No, it'll make us a rich country again. Right now we owe $35 trillion because of stupid stuff like this. And other countries, China in particular, they've done this for years and years and years. They built their country with money that we paid them. We're paying them $500 billion on average a year for years. They built their military with our money. So this will... We want them to do well. I want them to do well. You know, I made a great deal with them. They have to buy $50 billion a year of product. I thought they said 15. My guys, I said, what's the number you want? 15. I said, 15. Oh, good. But I thought they said 50. So they came to me, and the deal was almost finished, and it said 15. I said, what do you mean 15? You said 50. They said, no, sir, we said 15. I said, you didn't say. Make it 50. Go back to them, say, we made a mistake. They went back, and China accepted it. They said, can you believe it? But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it. We have USMCA. We did the deals with Japan, with South Korea. We were screwed by everybody, friend and foe. In fact, the friends did a worse job on us than the enemies. The enemies were gentler to us than many of our friends on trade. But Japan, we redid that deal. We redid South Korea. We redid a lot of deals, and we were respected. You know, 5 years ago, we were a very respected country. And I don't want to say this too loudly because it could happen, but I don't fall downstairs. I don't fall on platforms. I don't fall off bicycles. I have a great memory. I can talk about hundreds of things at one time and always get back to that point that you were trying to make. I can do things that people can't do, but you know what? We have the biggest, this is the most important period in the history of our country, because our country, this is a nation in decline. We are a nation in decline. We're a failing nation. We're a failing nation. And they have no clue what to do. She wants to raise everybody's taxes, and what they do, you know, today, they used to go to different states. If Pennsylvania was high, they go to another state. But now they go to different countries. Other countries want our business. They want our companies. And a lot of them have left. The pharmaceutical business left. A lot of industries have left. We're keeping them, and we're going to get all those people back. We're going to make it so they practically have to come back. So we'll take in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we're going to make our country so strong and so rich, it will never be so rich. You know, we used to be an all-tariff country in the 1890s, 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s, all tariffs. That was when our country was the richest it ever was. It was never rich like that. It was so rich that they had to set up a commission, the Great Tariff Commission of like 1887. It had one function: what to do with all the money. We had so much money, we didn't know what to do with it. And then in the 1900s, they brilliantly went to the income tax, where everybody gets taxed, and foreign companies could come in and just steal our treasure and our jobs, steal our wealth. And honestly, we've never really been the same. The country made so much money, and other countries lived. They were fine. But we're like taking care of the whole world, and it's time for the world to take care of us. Does that make sense? Time to take care of us. And we're going to pay off debt, or we're going to reduce taxes still further, because that's what it's all about. We gave you the tax cut, and it was the biggest tax cut in American history. We gave you that tax cut, and we did more business with, our revenues were greater with a much smaller number. You paid much less, and yet as a country, we did much more business. We had great years. My pro-American trade policies are one of the major reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank and file membership of the Teamsters Union. They haven't endorsed. Including, 65%. I got a 65% number from the Teamsters of Pennsylvania. Is anybody here from the Teamsters? I mean, where are they? I love them. Where are you? I heard that. Oh, look at these guys. That's great. Thank you very much. That's great. That's great. Thank you. Now we got the firefighters endorse us. You probably heard they haven't. Oh. Wow. Look at that. That's a very good-looking group of human beings, I will say. That's a healthy-looking group. That's nice. That's nice. Nice. Thank you very much. Wow. I didn't know you'd be here. So the firefighters, I guess they haven't. Every year for, 60, 70, some crazy number of years, they always automatically do, the Democrats. And the rank and file said, we're not doing that. And they voted overwhelmingly for me. And, you know, the union heads always have a problem with that. They always have a problem. And the same thing happened with the Teamsters. And that's happening also with the auto industry, because United Auto Workers you're not going to have any jobs unless they vote. And if they vote for me, we'll have more autos being made in this country than at any time since the heyday, which was about 60 years ago, because all it is a one-way street out of our country. We're going to rebuild the auto industry in our country. We're going to make it so good and so powerful and so great again. So firefighters, thank you very much. We love you guys. That's good. Teamsters, thank you very much. Great people. No, that's great. See, they don't go necessarily by the heads. Although I have to say the head of the Teamsters is a terrific guy, tough guy, good. He was fine with it. He was okay. He wants to go with, what the people want. Sean O'Brien, he's a great guy. And I don't know as well the firefighters, but as far as I'm concerned, he's a great guy. Has to be good. I like people that like me, don't we? I like people. They like me. I like them. So we're pleased. Thank you, fellas, very much. It's great. Any fires lately? Have you put out any fires lately? Any big bad ones, huh? You guys have a lot of guts doing what you do, let me tell you. We're pleased to be joined today by your next Senator, Dave McCormick, and everybody is really, really impressed with Dave. I know him for a long time. Everything was the best. He was the best student. He went to the best schools. He went out in business, became one of the most successful guys, ran one of the biggest funds and very successfully. And I don't know, you sure you want to do this? I think I've talked a lot of people out of it. They see what I go through, I had more investigations than Al Capone. He killed a person a week. Alphonse Capone, the meanest Scarface, the meanest of them all. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone ever even dreamed about. Of course, he used to kill the investigators. I don't do that, You want to come up for 1 second, David? Fast? Come on, David. Come on.
All right, well, thank you. Great to be in Scranton with the next President of the United States. President Trump, we're so honored to have you here, and we are committed in Pennsylvania to putting you back in the White House and changing the majority of the Senate and sending Bob Casey packing. So thank you for being here. And, what happens in Pennsylvania or what happens for the country depends on what happens in the next 27 days. And as you know, Mr. President, I was a wrestler. Lots of wrestlers here in this part of Pennsylvania. And I wasn't the best wrestler, but I always knew in college, if I could get into the third period, within a point or two, I would win. Because the third period is not about wrestling. It's about mental toughness. It's about heart. It's about staying on offense. It's about fight, fight, fight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, David. Callista? Are you Callista? Yeah. We have somebody else that I think is amazing. I had to compete with this guy. And I thought it was going to be easy, but it wasn't. He was nasty. He was quick. He's smart as hell. And he knew things that a lot of people didn't know and didn't understand. He did amazingly well because he started really as a rookie, right? And he got up and he wiped a lot of very smart politicians off the stage. And then one day he came up to me, he goes, I don't think I'm going to beat you. I said, you're not going to beat me. You're not going to beat me. But he's a great guy. I mean, he's really smart, and I hope he's going to be involved in our administration. I do hope that. Because we can put him in charge of one of these big monsters, and he'll do a better job than anybody you can think of. So, Vivek, please, thank you very much. Vivek is a great guy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. No, he's tough and he's smart. Before I go to a couple of great and really warriors, I want to introduce, in a way, another warrior, Callista. Callista, will you please stand up? Callista? Oh. You can stand up anyway. No, I know, I'm only kidding. I know you are, and I know. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, darling. Appreciate it. You look great. Thank you. Congressional candidate Rob Bresnahan. Rob, thank you. How's that going, Rob? Good? Thank you very much. County Commissioner Chris Shermack and Mayor. Thank you very much, Chris. Good job you're doing. Mayor Carl Curran. Thank you. Where's Carl? Thank you. He's here. I shook his hand a little while ago. Huh? Oh, hello. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much, Mayor. I also want to send our love to everyone in Florida. They're going through a big one tonight. It's going to arrive tonight sometime around midnight, a little before midnight, and we're praying for them and asking God to keep them all safe, all those people. I've never seen a hurricane like that. I don't know. It's so often, they talk about it and they talk because they want you to watch. This is the real deal. This is a bad one. And we have some great governors, great Republican governors that are in charge, and I think they'll do a phenomenal job. I think they're going to do a phenomenal job. But here are some facts. Kamala Harris is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders. Actually, rated even worse than Pocahontas. Has anyone heard of Pocahontas? She was an original creator of Defund the Police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being president of the United States. She was one of the originals. Defund the police. We want to defund the police. You saw when she went up to Minnesota and she was bailing people out that wanted to burn down everything. Remember? They said, oh, it's a friendly protest. This poor idiot from CNN used to, remember? He said, this is a friendly, then he got hit in the leg with like a rock or something, a hand grenade. He went down, remember, he went down. He went down! This is a friendly protest. Oh, this is very friendly. And behind him, the entire city of Minneapolis was burning. It looked like the Second World War. No, it was friendly. It's a terrible thing, but she wanted to bail out all those people that did that and cause death. She got a lot of them out. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. She wants mass amnesty for all illegals. She wants mass amnesty for people that have literally looked to destroy our country. It's all will go to one thing. It's going to bankrupt your Medicare, bankrupt your Social Security. And we mentioned again, 325,000 migrant children dead or in slavery right now and just plain missing. She was the Attorney General of the state of California. She redefined child sex trafficking. These are words or phrases: assault with a deadly weapon and rape of an unconscious person. She said, from now on, they will be called nonviolent crimes and reduced sentences accordingly. She pledged to confiscate your guns. She's going to take away your guns. I didn't let anybody touch that. Not an easy issue. I didn't let any. Does anybody in the room, please raise your hand, have a gun? That's a tough job. No, she wants to confiscate your guns and endorse a total ban of handgun ownership. What do you do when a bad guy comes into your house? What do you do? The bad guy walks in and he's got whichever gun you have. If you don't have a gun, you're in big trouble, right? I mean, you need to have, that's what they have the Second Amendment for. You know, the city with the strongest gun legislation. You can't have a gun, you can't get near it, you go to jail forever. Is a place called Chicago, and that's got the worst problem, right? That's got the worst problem. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. All paid for by the taxpayer. In other words, if you're being detained and you want a sex change, you can get, by the way, aside from the obvious, not such a great idea, it's a very, very expensive operation. And perhaps most revealing of all, she lied all about so many different things, but she lied about that little thing called McDonald's. She never worked there. And yesterday, Tampon Tim said, you know why they call him that? Because they sell tampons with special legislation in boys' locker rooms. Can you believe it? Says he's a freak. I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that. By the way, can you imagine if this guy happened along, right? Can you even believe this? And yesterday, Tampon Tim said they want to abolish the Electoral College, taking away all electoral power basically from the voters of places like Pennsylvania. Tim and Comrade Kamala are really a true threat. They are a true threat to democracy. I'm not a threat to democracy. I'm the one that's going to save democracy. I'm the one that's going to save it. I'm going to save democracy. They are a threat to democracy, and they really are, too. Also, a big thing that's a threat is incompetence is a threat to democracy. It really is. Because much of the stuff they do, I think, is incompetence. But she's surrounded by very smart, very vicious people that have to be, that are very radical left lunatics, okay? But they are smart, in some cases genius. Look what they could do with elections. Look what they do. They're smart. And we have to be very careful. I talk about the enemy from within. They're the enemy from within. We have the enemy on the outside and the enemy from within. And the enemy, let's say you talk China, Russia, North Korea, you talk about different places. If you have a smart president, that's not going to be a problem. But the enemy from within is a very sick group of people, I can tell you, because I had to go through years of Russia, 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 and they knew it was fake. They knew it was fake. How about this? I have a son, Don, who's a great guy. He knew less about Russia. He knew less about Russia, David, than there's nobody in this room. Is there a child in the room? A child? Is there a young child? Huh? No, he's not that young, ma'am. He's about 70 years old. She's pointing to a guy that's like in his... Where is... Yeah. Okay, so you take a child. You take a child who's 5 years old. He knows more about Russia than my son. He knew nothing. And yet Adam Shifty Schiff came out of an intelligence hearing, and he said, Donald Trump Jr. will go to jail for what he did with Russia. And just understand, the whole thing was a made-up scam by him and Crooked Hillary and all these people. It was a scam. It turned out to be, and the writers at the New York Times got Pulitzer Prizes for their excellent journalism. No, but the thing turned out to be a scam. And then they admitted they were wrong. And we're suing the Pulitzer Foundation. We're demanding that they retract the Pulitzer Prizes with damages. And we're doing very well in that case. But think of it. He knows nothing about, and I call him, I say, are you okay? He said, yeah, Dad, I know nothing about what they're talking about. I have nothing to do with Russia. Absolutely. Here's a sleazebag that goes out and says, my son is going to go to jail on a con job that he made up along with Hillary and some of the others. Now think of it. How bad do you have to be to do that? He knows it's a phony story. They got caught, and now they've all admitted it was a con. It was a hoax, as we said, a scam. And they tell me my son's going to go to jail, and they all know it's a hoax. These are sick people. These are bad people. And we got to beat them, and we got to beat them badly, and we got to get them the hell out of there. We're going to get them out. But with your vote this November, we're going to defeat these radical left lunatics, and we're going to finish the job that we so brilliantly started. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. Think of it, what we had going. On day one, I will seal the border, I will stop the migrant invasion, and we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. And I don't want to do that. I have a heart. I have a bigger heart than most of the people in this room, let me tell you. But you have no choice. It's not sustainable. We have to get them out. And we start with the worst of the criminals. We start with the drug lords. We start with the worst of the criminals. The illegal migrants coming into our country are taking the jobs of American citizens, the black and Hispanic communities in particular. The black communities, the Hispanic communities, and the unions are coming next. You watch. They're going to go after the unions. They're doing it, and they're here, and they shouldn't be here. I will end inflation, and I will make America affordable again. I will fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare. There'll be no cuts. There'll be no cuts. We won't be raising the age like they're going to end up doing. They'll be raising Social Security by 5 or 6 years. You watch. Very soon they're going to do it because it's not sustainable what they're doing. We will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate. I will stop outsourcing and turn the U.S. into a manufacturing superpower. Working with Elon Musk, we will slash a record amount of government waste. I will end the war in Ukraine, stop the chaos in the Middle East, and prevent World War III. We will prevent World War III. I will crush the violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and the respect that they so dearly deserve. Our police are great. We're going to give them back their authority. It's been taken away. They destroy our police. They take away their house, their family, their car. They take away their pension. They want to do their job. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. I will support universal school choice. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools immediately. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, and restore free speech, and we will secure, finally, our elections. We will secure them. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda once and for all. We want a landslide that is too big to rig. We want to have it too big to rig. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know and vote, vote, vote. Get out there and vote. After all we've been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. With your help now until Election Day, this is such an important little period of time. We will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We love our nation. As an example, I didn't need this. I could be in the most beautiful beach in the world right now. Instead, I'm in the Commonwealth, which is okay with me. I like this better. A lot of people are in the beach. No, this is much better and much more important. It has nothing to do with like. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you. Get out and vote. God bless you.
Well, there you hooligans have it. President Trump live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. In about 2 hours, he is expected to be live once again for a Trump rally. You would think this was a rally. He's got a Trump rally in Reading, Pennsylvania at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, about 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. We still have the whole schedule of Coffee with Hooligans to go, which is totally fine. We're going to read through the chat really quick and see what your hooligans thought about President Trump being live here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. The crowd was really fired up. Oh, they got that kid to wake up. There's I think it's a little girl who was in the background. She was tuckered out. Probably had to stand in line for a whole 24 hours. God only knows. Now she's over there holding up a 47 sign. Badass. Hair juicer, the gift matched the music. Heck yeah. That's how you know it was meant to be. Snooks, you need a little honey mustard on that wiener? My goodness. Never heard that before. That's new. That's new. Too old to care, make America moral again. Yeah, that'd be a step in the right direction for sure. Zupia, hell yeah, God bless President Trump. Absolutely. DCat, the Orange Eagle was on fire with his talons out. Yeah, he was kicking ass. He was killing me in the beginning, though, because he kept swearing. He was like, should I be on the teleprompter? Ah, shit. And I was like, dang. It sounds real casual. Real casual. All right, like I said, we still have the whole lineup from Coffee with Hooligans. So we'll go ahead and get into that. We last showed the Afghan national that was arrested. He was accused of planning an ISIS attack that was supposed to be scheduled for Election Day. I don't know. I mean, they try and act like that's a real thing, but I think it's scary stuff. They're like, oh no, you're going to have to be careful on Election Day. ISIS is going to get you. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like fear-mongering. Anyways, next up we have Alina Habba Habba. Biden was nowhere to be found when Helene was happening. I'll go ahead and get some Alina Habba Habba in. We just had the Orange Eagle. Might as well bring on the attorney as well. So let's go ahead and get into this. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
Okay, joining me now is Alina Habba, Trump 2024 senior advisor. Good to have you with us, Alina. There's been criticism about former President Trump, and Cedric was touching on it there, and what he has said about the ability for the administration to respond to this issue. What do you say to that?
It's very simple. Let's talk about facts. Cedric's saying there's misinformation. Let's talk about information that is undisputable. While Helene was happening, Kamala decided it was more important to go on a podcast about sex, call her daddy. When Helene was happening, President Biden was nowhere to be found. So now we have retake. By the way, this morning, The View, Kamala saying President Trump lacks empathy. That one was Rich. He's the person that's helped with Elon Musk get everybody's Starlinks. So I'm talking facts. And honestly, what Governor DeSantis said was perfect. This is not the time to politicize. This is not the time to try and get a point ahead of your other opponent. It's the time to get dirty and go help people. And that's what President Trump has done. He hasn't tried to make phony phone calls to look good to the media. He's gotten out there. He's going out there. We have people in North Carolina from the campaign, from the RNC, out there helping with their hands, buying things, coordinating with Elon Musk. That is a
What
fact.
is that campaign effort like in Western North Carolina?
Well, we had people bringing in, I'm sure you saw Laura Trump took a team out there on the ground with the campaign, with the RNC, and she did a tremendous job. You know, she's from North Carolina,
Right.
so that's home for her. And Western North Carolina got hit really hard. And like you said, these are real people with real issues. They don't need a $750 handout for a press headline. They need help. They need water. There are still people missing. There are babies floating in the water. And we're on podcasts. That's what the Harris team is doing. So I think what Cedric's doing is completely irresponsible.
Where did you see that report of a baby floating in the water?
We have absolutely heard there are children floating. There's missing bodies, dead bodies. We know that. There are dead people. We're up to 250.
32.
Yeah, 32. Thank you. So this is the problem. It's not misinformation. It's fact. And to talk about Katrina, well, I'm really glad you're dealing with your trauma from Katrina. But we have problems happening now. We've got to deal with things now. And I think Governor DeSantis is doing exactly what you should be doing. But frankly, that should be coming from FEMA, like you said. That should be coming from the top. And what he's doing is a great example for the country. What President Trump did, getting in there, using the money, using his resources to give them things they need. Electricity, power. You know, that's the things they need. There are children there missing. It's just a fact.
I mean, we need to learn a lot more about that. We talked to a woman whose mother was missing yesterday,
Right.
who was hanging on to a wall that slammed into a tree and she and her husband were separated. That we, can document because we know the people that were involved in it. And we hope that some of these other horror stories are not true, but we're still, getting in more information on all of this. I want to put up a recent poll. This is New York Times Siena, which shows Harris ahead by 3 points among likely voters, 49-46 in that current polling. And one of the questions that is being asked today by Mark Thiessen of the Washington Post has to do with Nikki Haley, who we're going to talk to in a minute. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Mark Thiessen writes this: Trump should deploy her to key battleground states for the next 4 weeks to convince the reluctant but persuadable 18% of the electorate to cast their ballots for him. Failure to do so would be sheer political malpractice. It could very well cost him the presidency. That's Mark Thiessen writing a column for the Washington Post. What's your reaction to that? Is that going to happen, first of all?
I'm not going to speak to what his plan is, but WAPO is pretty rich to be giving President Trump advice.
Well, that's Mark Thiessen, who's a contributor here at Fox.
Okay, but well, all I can tell you is this. We are all for anybody who's trying to save America. And Nikki Haley, if she's on that camp today and she's willing to come out and help save America, God bless, let's go. Because we are in a state of crisis. We have seen people come out, actors, actresses, that know that it'll hurt their career and support Donald Trump. We are in a state of crisis.
She said she was standing by and happy to help.
Love
that was a few weeks ago.
Love that.
But you don't know if there's any plan at this point.
I do not know of any plan at this point.
All right. Alina, thank you very much. Interesting piece by Thiessen today. Yep. And we'll be watching all these numbers. Alina, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.
Alina Haba telling it like it is. It's been a while since we had Alina Haba on. I want to say it was right. I think we've played her 2 or 3 times since they had scheduled the sentencing for President Trump for the hush money trial, they call it. I think it's only been 2 or 3 times since then that we've covered her, but she's still in the game, still doing the thing. Next up, we have journalist shares how North Carolina voters can vote despite Helene damage. I think we got 3 videos that are all related to Hurricane Helene, kind of updates on the situation and people giving their personal experience on how things are going out there with, the whole $700 fix your problems thing, which isn't going to fix anybody's problem. Have you seen any of the footage from the damage from Hurricane Helene? And then everyone at the same time is bracing themselves for Hurricane Milton that's supposed to be reaching land by tonight. I saw a bunch of videos of everybody evacuating from, I think it's the west coast of Florida, and they were saying that it was backed up for 10 hours or something like that. Lots of helicopter views and whatnot. It's a lot of suspicious things happening all at once, and we've covered a couple news articles where they are sounding excited about the disasters that are happening because of the hurricane as well as the new hurricane that's coming. And all the news can talk about is, oh no, this is going to swing the election. Oh no. It's like, I don't know. It just seems really suspicious that they're trying to use the hurricane as a way to swing the election. And then on top of all of that, the federal government isn't helping those people that were hurt by Hurricane Helene. And then yesterday we covered a video where some think that the federal government's even sabotaging Americans that are helping Americans because the federal government isn't doing anything. And with that kind of tone, we have a sheriff in one of these videos that feels the same way. And I'm kind of inclined to believe the sheriff who's boots on the ground more than, any of these news articles we're covering, or even Joe Biden saying, oh yeah, I was on the phone for 2 hours, and they're very happy at how it's going, and Harris with her $750 that you have to qualify for, and people aren't even qualifying. In this one video, there's a mayor of North Carolina. His kid didn't qualify for it. Only qualified for $300. Well, that's not even going to buy groceries. What are you going to do with $300? So, either way, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans think about Alina Haba. And like I said, next up we have journalist shares how North Carolina voters can vote despite Helene damage. Snooks, that's what she said? I don't know what I said. I don't know what you're replying to. Zero, seating is a narrative by the government. Yeah, I seen a video where years ago, I don't know, it was decades ago, the government tried to do something to a hurricane. They flew into it and then threw dried ice into the hurricane to see what would happen. And the hurricane was leaving Florida when it happened, and they threw the dried ice in it, and then in 24 hours it took a U-turn and then went directly into Georgia. And so a lot of people are using information like that, saying, you know, maybe they are manipulating these hurricanes and stuff like that. It's hard to say, but there is people tracking aircrafts that are flying either into the hurricane or flying around the hurricane, which doesn't make any sense. You know, why would you be flying a plane or into a hurricane? That doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, the possibility is definitely out there. Saldaregu, the federal government would never hurt the people, and Hillary Clinton is a nice lady. Yes, Saldaregu, if you say so. If you say so. Here, Juicer, been watching a family from Asheville rebuilding their homestead and helping family and neighbors. It's really heartwarming. Yeah, here, Juicer, there is a lot of people that are banding together and trying to help each other because, I mean, at this point, they're pretty solid. The federal government's not coming to help. Mary Todd, Alaska has HARP. It's up the road from me. It's real. Isn't there a HARP on like the other side of California also? There's something out there. I can't remember what it is. I think it is HARP. Zupia, you should look into General Electric and the work they used to do to manipulate the weather. They stopped because they knew it could eventually end up hurting people. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about it. Lots of stuff about it. Because they've done all kinds of stuff. They worry about the atmosphere and all kinds of, you know, randomness. But they change the labels. They put new pronouns on these projects, and then it's hard to look it up, and people, you know, claim it's not true and all of that. And I don't have any of these links scheduled or anything, so that's why I'm not trying to talk a whole lot about the weather stuff that the government does, because I don't have any way to prove it. And for those that can hear me that don't believe it, I don't have any receipts for you. So like I said, I'm not trying to talk about that a whole lot, but there is a ton of information out there. The problem is the relabeling. That's what's so hard to track everything down, is they relabel everything. Too old to care. You can't fool around with Mother Nature. You can't. I know. She's hot though. Pumpkin, they fly through hurricanes to gather data. Yeah, I know there's storm chasers and stuff. I saw a video of some group of individuals that are storm chasers that had a ton of equipment on a plane, and they were flying into Hurricane Helene, I think. I don't think it was Milton. I think it was Helene, but maybe it was Milton. And they were doing just that. They were collecting data and stuff from the hurricane. I'm trying to think. I might actually have the video saved. Where I was saying that, you know, they were throwing dried ice into the hurricane. Yeah, actually I do have the video. Now, you gotta take it as a grain of salt, okay? I don't have the actual video. I got this guy telling us some shit. Is there a way to close this panel? I guess not. Floating player?
He's not.
Oh, I knew that was gonna be the wrong move. Okay. Well, we're going to watch this little video really quick since we're on the subject of hurricane seeding. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll see. You know, the whole deal's improv anyway, and we're all in this together. So let's go ahead and check this out. This will give you a little insight on what we were just talking about if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Hurricane seeding is not real, right? Don't be so sure. Okay, it was called Project Cirrus. It happened back in the 40s. This is a little map of a hurricane track. The hurricane came up, hit the tail end of Florida, caused some damage, and then it was headed out to sea, so they figured, well, it's not going to hurt anybody now. So they conducted a little experiment where they made multiple passes dropping dry ice into the storm, and they went back the next day to monitor it. Turns out the thing made a hard left hook, went back west, and slammed into Georgia, killed one person, and caused a bunch of damage. I'm not saying that's what's happening now, but apparently we can't rule it out. Hurricane seeding is not real.
All right. I did save it. I tell you guys, I go through a lot of information while I'm building the schedule, and certain things make it and certain things don't. And yeah, so there you go. Little information there about what we were just talking about. It's not totally bullshit. There's information out there. Snooks, I saw a video of a plane flying into Milton. Amazing. Maybe that was the video I saw too. It's crazy. I wouldn't want to flying into a hurricane. I don't want no part of a hurricane, but I definitely wouldn't want to be on a plane that was flying right into it. Cricket Kiss, LBJ, 1962 speech, admitting that they can control the weather. Yeah. Puff and Stuff, 3 HARP facilities in Alaska, 2 more around Northern Hemisphere. Alice, I seen that. Crazy, a lot of people not even getting the $750. Plus, I also heard that you have to pay it back. Yeah, they claim it's a loan. Well, no, it is a loan because we heard KJP talk about it earlier today. Because I don't know what I was dealing with technical shit, but the woman was saying it was either the woman she was talking to on the TV or it was her. It was one or the other. But they said, oh, there's conspiracy theories where if you don't pay back the money, we're going to take your house. And that's not true, she said. Which means you do have to pay it back. Because she didn't say that, no, you don't have to pay it back. She said, no, we're not going to take your house if you don't pay it back. So I wonder what they will do if you don't pay it back. They'll probably just dock your wages or take it out of your taxes, I guess. I really thought we were going to have to pay back stimulus. And I mean, I can't even tell, I guess, if we didn't have to pay it back because I got to pay into taxes every year anyways. But I really thought that was going to be a thing, and I didn't hear anybody bitching about it. Craig Kiss, another hurricane forming after Milton. It's very suspicious. Alistair, oh, $700 cash? Cool, I got teepee for a few days, but I need food and water. Yeah, Alistair, and they have to have a digital device to even do any of that. They have to apply for it, then get it, and when they get it, it's a wire transfer, I'm sure, and then who knows when that happens. The government's not quick about anything. They're like, yeah, in 5 to 7 weeks, you'll receive this in your bank account. I mean, I don't have information on that, but I'm just saying that's probably how it goes. And what good is that going to do people stranded on a mountain who don't have service? They don't have any internet. They may not have their devices at all. It could just, imagine if you were sleeping, right? And you wake up floating in your house. You're probably not really grabbing a whole lot. Grabbing the living things and then leaving the water. Your digital devices are already trash. So, how are people supposed to even get this little bit of money? But they don't care. They just want to act like they're doing something. Bones, do you have a video of the helicopter rotor washing the church parking lot? Yeah, we played that yesterday. We played 2 videos of it. Told the carrier I didn't take any stimulus because nothing is ever free. I had it. I mean, they sent it to the house. I cashed the check. I needed the money back then, though. I need the money now, but every day I'm learning something new. Killer J, where are they going to send the money? Yeah, as far as I know, they wire it to a bank account. Can't really send a check to the address when the house washed down, down the way there. I don't know what their plan is. I don't think they have any plan. They just want to pretend like they're actually helping Americans. I don't even know why they pretend. What is anybody going to do? I don't even see anybody that mad about anything. Everybody's so numb to all the bullshit. Why even come out and say it? They might as well go on TV and be like, yeah, we don't care about those people. What is anybody going to do? Nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's mad enough. So why even do the pretend? Because they're worried about votes? They don't have any real votes coming anyways. All the votes they got are going to be the ballots that they fill out themselves and circulate through the machine over and over again. That's all they got. Hair Juicer, Biden did say 3 hurricanes when asked about Helene. Yeah. Zero, have any of the areas hit by Helene been declared a disaster area yet? I haven't heard. I haven't heard any of that either. I haven't heard anything about disaster areas, state of emergency, any of that stuff. I mean, it could be happening, but I'm not hearing that. Zero, all the disaster assistance only can be approved after the disaster has been declared. Yeah. Snooks are adrenaline junkies. The people flying right into the hurricanes. They gotta be. They gotta be. You couldn't get me to do that. I don't like being on a plane just going to Florida, let alone like going into a hurricane. There's no way. Melissa, the Atlantic hurricane season is the period in a year from June 1st through November 30th. I don't know. It's not good, though. I know that. Renegade, they should have given them some of... Wait a minute. They should just give them some of those 3,500 cards that they're giving the border crossers for instant cash every day. Yeah, Renegade, but they don't have a way to give it to them because they're not even going to rescue the people. So how could they hand them an EBT card? But that would be the way to go. Get those people the card so they can have the money in their hand and swipe the card wherever they can purchase things. I mean, that would make way more sense than being like, yeah, it's in your bank account, but you don't have bank cards anymore because they floated away. So you got to go to the bank, but the bank floated away. So figure it out when you get off the mountain. You know, like that's what's going on. It's no good. It's no good. All right, hooligans. We're going to move into this next one. This is the North Carolina mayor's daughter applied for Camilla's $750 FEMA payment, but was only approved for $300. Let's get this pulled up. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys really quick, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out while we're making Saturdays more fun. So we're going to get into this, like I said. Let me rewind it really quick. This is the North Carolina mayor's daughter has applied for Camilla's $750 FEMA payment, but was only approved for $300.
It's literally, what is FEMA? So my daughter, whose house got completely wiped out, she has no flood insurance, meets with a FEMA person, applies for everything she doesn't get the $750 that Kamala says that she's supposed to get, gets approved for $300 for personal items. What is that going to do? That's literally what she got. Her entire first floor is wiped out. We hauled everything off. It's gone. So what is FEMA? And being a mayor...
So they didn't even give her the full $750.
They didn't even give her $750. Denied the $750.
They gave her $300.
They gave her $300. That won't even cover what's in the refrigerator. It's literally what is...
So bad. And then Hyena Harris wants to go out there and say that President Trump doesn't care about the American people. President Trump provided more than she did, and he's not even in the Oval Office. We're going to go right into this next video because it's similar vibes. Same subject matter. It's titled, Sheriff of North Carolina Rips Apart the White House and Hyena Harris. All right, let's get into this. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
Message for the White House and how they've handled the situation up here in North Carolina. What would your message be, Sheriff Wright?
If you're going to do the things you've been talking about doing, we just assume you stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area and the foothills take care of our own, because you're nothing more than a boat anchor. That lady that's running for president talks about the $750. Well, but all that money you give to Ukraine and all these other people that really don't want to do anything to help us, why don't you just give that money to them? That's who you want to give it to begin with.
And a lot of people have been turned down for the $750. Almost everybody I've spoken to hasn't received any of the funding. and they've been turned down for personal items.
Well, they talked about get on your phone or your computer. Do you not see what the devastation is? They don't have a phone or a computer.
There's nothing up here. There's no communication. I'm going to be posting this later. There's no way to access the internet unless you have a Starlink net. And everybody's...
Thank you, Elon Musk, by the way.
Oh, yes, thank you, Elon Musk.
President Donald Trump, we need you.
President Donald Trump, we need you, he says. There's no way that people think that Hyena Harris is good for anything. I don't think she gives that good of BJ's. I just don't. I look at that ball sack with teeth and I'm like, there's no way that she's that damn good at it. She's not good for anything. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about the ongoing disaster for the victims of Hurricane Helene. Next up, we got quite a doozy. University of Kansas professor says the men who won't vote for Kamala Harris to be president should be lined up and shot. He told his whole class that, and then he told the person recording to dock it from the recording so the dean can't hear him talk like that. Really good stuff coming out of the University of Kansas. But before we get into that, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about those disaster zones and what the mayor said and what the sheriff just said. Zero, the sheriff is a good one. Yeah, I agree. He's not holding back. He's saying exactly how it is. And like I said, he's boots on the ground. So I'm pretty inclined to believe the things he's saying. You know, the White House wants to come out and tell us, oh, everything's great over there. Don't you worry about it. We're taking care of those people. Well, the sheriff doesn't say so. And he's there. So it's no good. I mean, it's no good. I would like to see this place start to turn around. I mean, how many days has it been? Is it 10 days or something like that since the hurricane hit? So, like, I want to see those people get helped. Russell, Elon helped out a bunch. Yep, I agree. Snooks, Trump is a real man, not a fake piece of shit like FJB. Yep. Glad you made it home safe, Russell. Snooks, DeSantis declared Florida under a state of emergency. Well, I don't want to say good because it's not good, but it is good that DeSantis is a proper leader for Florida, because we got so many shitheads running everything that it's kind of no wonder that everything's running like crap right now. Look at who's in charge. Hair Juicer, there was another incident of a rotor wash. It was a Canuck instead of a Blackhawk. That's probably not Canuck. Maybe it is. This time. Interesting. If you have the ability and you have the video, Hair Juicer, send it to me. Maybe we'll show it on tomorrow's live. Wayward, whoever hits that thumbs down, you're a biatch. Somebody shows up every day just to hit the thumbs down on my shit. Every day. I don't care. Fuck them. Fuck them. I hope God changes their heart. What are you saying, Melissa? I've read this 3 times. I still can't figure it out. She looked like her chin's old saddlebag, or her chin's old saddlebag when she was on 60 Minutes. You wrote it 60 Men Nuts, and then that's what was throwing me off. Hyena Harris looks terrible. She looks terrible. She looks like her face is foreskin. That's what it looks like. She looks uncircumcised while she's walking around. You know what I'm saying. You've seen her, okay? You see what she looks like. She looks like she's got the hood up. You know, I'm just saying. Melissa, hell yeah, Sheriff. I know, telling it like it is. Wayward, I watched some of my biker dudes try to make it into North Carolina. They spent hours looking for a way into Ground Zero, drive 45 minutes and have to back out. A trailer would have been stuck. Yeah, Wayward, I want to say it was Ginger Fire, sent me a bunch of links. And one of them was a woman who was former National Guard or something like that. She was some sort of military, and she was trying to get in and help people, and they were directly told, if you see FEMA agents, you better just run, because they're going to try and stop you from helping people. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole video, but there's a good chance that that video is going to end up on tomorrow's live. We'll see how it goes. And shout out to Gingerfire for sending me the links and stuff. Appreciate you. Happy Freedom Rappy. Thank you for joining us. Crit Kiss. Selfish hurricane victims. We have to send money for the prisoner invaders' genital removal. Yeah, Cricket Kiss. And I still can't believe that stuff. You know, they want to give. What do they? I can't remember what the Democrats call it because they're so gay and stupid at the same time. I can't remember what it is. It's not gender affirming care, is it? Is that what it's called? Either way, they want to give all the illegals in prison sex changes on our dollar. And I mean, I was talking with my sister about this yesterday, and we were laughing it up, you know, just talking crap about what's going on. And I was like, you know, if I was going to do 20 years, 20 to life in prison, I'd probably want to go hang out with the women too. I probably wouldn't want to hang out with a bunch of dudes in prison for 25 years to life or whatever it is. Yeah, maybe. But I know the illegals don't deserve that shit. I was born and raised here. The illegal, no, I come first. I come first. Give me the tits first. That's the only way, though. I don't know how these people walking around do it. That's just too much. What's up, Mike T? Happy freedom to you. Melissa, too bad we can't see who thumbs down. I wonder if there's a way. I wonder if I pull up the source code, if there is a way to see who thumbs down the video. I'll try and remember to do that at the end of the live. I don't want to dig into it. I pull that code up, I'll be just sitting here staring at the screen for the next 45 minutes. I'm addicted to dealing with code. Plastic Crack Hooligans that do it for free. Cut your goods off. Rappy, I saw where Hyena Harris was on Stephen Colbert. Yeah, we might have a video of that. We actually don't. I was gonna grab a couple of those clips, but none of them were good. I mean, none of her is good. There's no good clips of Hyena Harris, but there wasn't even funny clips. It was a mess. It was a mess. I seen a bunch of clips from her interview that was released yesterday or today or whenever it got released, but there wasn't anything worth grabbing. Not that I saw. I don't know. She's doing terrible. She's doing terrible. That's what makes me laugh every time they're like, oh, they're so close. The race is so close. They're so close in the polls. Where? Who the fuck is voting for her? Like, I don't know anybody that likes her. I've never even seen a Harris sign. Like, I don't. It's fake. It's fake. What's up, XX5? Happy freedom. Will the USA get paid back? You know that ain't gonna happen. Claim being from Haiti. Yeah. That's how you get the job done. That's what, see, and maybe that is what they should do. Those poor people that were affected by Hurricane Helene, you know, they should just claim to be border crossers. They should just say they're from Venezuela or something like that and get their doll hairs, you know, get their doll hairs across. What's up, Find It, Fix It? Happy freedom. Stern doesn't count though because it was a viewer. Yeah, Stern. I mean, a thumbs. You know, honestly, I don't know if it even does anything. I don't even know. I guess it. I don't know if a thumbs down does anything. I know if you hit the thumbs up, it does. It will pull you to the front page. If you get enough likes on a video, it'll pull you to the front page. You used to do the same thing on YouTube. But as far as a thumbs down, I don't know. I know on YouTube it all counts as engagement. But on Rumble, I don't know. For the longest time, I think keywords didn't even matter. On Odyssey, keywords don't matter. They let you put keywords into your video as metadata. So when people type into the search bar, or if they have a history of watching a certain type of video, there's a chance your video will pop up. Well, then Odyssey made an announcement one day, and they were like, yeah, the keywords don't actually work. They're just there. And after experiencing that kind of stuff, I am skeptical of features I see on live stream platforms. And Rumble keeps updating and stuff, so maybe it does something, but there's a good chance that the thumbs down just simply does nothing other than, you know, somebody pissing in my Cheerios. I'm going to ask Rumble Rick later today. I'm going to write him on Twitter and see what he says, because he would know. He would know. Snooks, that's because you're a lesbian. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Alright, hooligans. We're going to get into this next one. Like I said, it is quite the video. University of Kansas professor says the men who won't vote for Kamala Harris to be president should be lined up and shot, which is a pretty crazy statement to say to a whole classroom full of college students. And then they wonder why people are shooting at President Trump, you know? You got professors out here saying this stupid shit. Now, before we get into this, I got a reminder for you guys. If you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat, and like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, scream and goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live like we have coming up in less than 2 hours. So definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. So we're going to get into this. Like I said, University of Kansas holy Klaus Daniels. You ain't got nothing to say about that? You just... Okay. Anyways, like I was saying, like President Trump, as I was saying, University of Kansas professor says that men who won't vote for Kamala Harris to be president should be lined up and shot, which is fucking crazy.
Guys are smarter than girls. You got some serious problems. That's what frustrates me. There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works. Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
Yeah, so that's good, right? It's Trump's rhetoric. That's the reason he's getting shot at. It's not because professors are out there saying stuff like that. Super crazy. Super crazy. Ragu, Jeff got pussy slapped. I didn't get slapped. He was climbing the chair here. He was trying to, I don't know what he was doing. He was being extra. Now he's laying on the floor. What time is it? It's almost snack time. That's why. That's why. He's showing his might right now. Next up, we have... It's kind of a funny video. I didn't really intend on it being one of the funny videos of the day, but it is pretty funny. It's titled, I Don't Want to Know What He's Packing, and it's President Trump being interviewed by Andrew Scholes, or however you say his name. He's a comedian or whatever, and it's pretty funny. But before we get into it, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about that crazy professor talking that crazy sauce. Russell, anti-American piece of shit. Professors should be, well, I'm not going to read that out loud, but he definitely should be held accountable for saying something like that. I don't know. I think it's really interesting that military has to worry about, like, the Hatch Act. Can't go out there and say one way or the other because you're kind of supposed to be neutral. I kind of feel like teachers should be in the same boat. Because I think even officers are like that. I think police officers aren't really supposed to be like, oh, I'm Harris or I'm Trump, supporter, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they're supposed to do that. Now, I don't know that for sure. But I'm pretty sure while they are in uniform, they are not supposed to be picking sides. And I don't know why teachers are able to do that. That seems wrong. Because obviously you have influence. You're a teacher. You are to influence the students to read, write, and do math. Anything extra is a waste of time. But either way, not really putting your political beliefs on your classroom. Also, I don't know what the hell the guy was even teaching. Like, I don't know what class he's in. There, when I grabbed that video, it was breaking. Everybody was, like, the video was 20 minutes old when I grabbed it, and I didn't see anybody else with an older post than that. So by the time this live is over, there's probably going to be even more information out there about it, and maybe we'll have a follow-up tomorrow on that professor. Like I said, he is from the University of Kansas, and maybe there could be a follow-up. Good chance of a follow-up, actually. Snooks, Klaus so owns you. Yeah, I'm his emotional support animal. Breeze by you. Wow, what a wonderful thing to say to your kids in your class. Fantastic. Just give me a second. Let me go and deal with the damn slider. All right, Klaus, take over. What kind of co-host are you? Just gonna lay on the ground like that? Like a Democrat? All right, anyways. Salty Ragu, Trump did it. Yep, it was Trump's fault. He paid the professor to do that. Russell, the thumbs down is a badge of honor. I hope whoever did that thumbs down gets poison ivy on their crotch. Breeze by you. Can you imagine if someone said that about voting for Trump? Oh yeah, talking about, well, people do say that, but I haven't seen any professors saying that, saying, oh, line the Democrats up. I haven't heard a professor say that, but it'd be all over the news. They'd be calling them white supreme pizza and all that stuff. That is hilarious. Zero. I had a little ponytail. Oh, come on, thing. There we go. Look at that. Nice. I'm styling. I was a little bit Native American. Yeah, just my cat. Right in my cat. Anyways. Zero, you are correct. While I was in uniform, no picking sides. Yeah, see, and I think the teachers should be held to that kind of standard as well. Because they're influencing young minds, even if they are 20 years old, 20-year-old students and whatnot. To leave that kind of impression, it's no good. Directly a call to violence, hair juicer. I'll do it right now. Wham. I'll do it right now because I know I got it saved. I had to look, make sure you guys couldn't see what I'm scrolling through because, man, that ain't appropriate for the live. Let me find the video. The Didio. Grody. Right here. Alright, here, Juicer. I posted it right now. It's my last post. So you should be able to find it just going to my profile. Snooks, I thought only women had crotches. You thought wrong. You thought wrong. It's an area. It's not a hoo-ha. It's not a part. It's an area. Like the taint. See, stop it. It's not Saturday. You do this on purpose, Snooks. You always do this. I always take the bait. Zupia, you better sleep with one eye open tonight after calling Klaus Daniels a Democrat. I don't sleep. I don't sleep. Yeah, you're right, though. You're right. He's over here looking at me. He's like, uh-huh. Plastic Quack, the professor is dumb. It's not about smarts. It's about the fifis. Yeah, Plastic Quack. He's suffering. He's got that derangement syndrome. Melissa, frat boys should kick his ass. They still got frat boys? I thought it was all women and dudes in dresses. I didn't even think there was boys anymore. I mean, I guess. Killer J. I guess. Amazing disgrace. What an intellectual coward. I'm hoping he actually gets held accountable. Because if that was yesterday's class, what is he teaching today? Alright, moving forward. This is kind of sort of one of our funny videos of the day. It's President Trump, and he's hilarious. It's titled, Trump, I don't want to know what he's packing. And it's pretty funny. Now, before we get into this, I got to give you guys the last reminder of the day. If you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use that Linktree link in order to send donations. You can do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. Let's get this pulled up here. President Trump is being interviewed by Andrew Schulz, or I don't know how to say his name. You'll recognize him once you see his face. You're going to be like, oh, that guy. Hold up, President Trump. I'm not ready. That guy on the right there. That guy right there. Okay, President Trump's being interviewed by these individuals here, and he's got them cracking up. And there's a certain part of this whole little interview that really had me cracking up. So let's get into it. Once again, this is President Trump saying, I don't want to know what he's packing.
Over the last week, I have to, what we talk about, funny or sad. I think it's more sad than funny. Yeah. He has one ability I don't have. Yeah. He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it. Yeah. They're meant for children. Yeah. Young people and old people to lift. Yeah. They're aluminum, hollowed aluminum. Yeah. They weigh very little and he can't lift. And somebody convinced him he looks good in a bathing suit. And when you're 82, typically bathing suits aren't going to make you look great. You're not going to be enhanced. Yeah. All right? It's just one of those things. I can't be sure about that, but typically you don't.
Depends what he's packing. He could.
I don't know what the hell he's packing, but I don't want to, and I don't want to know either. I don't know, but he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things, and in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do it?
And he's got cameras because he's the president, so they have cameras on him. Yeah. And then they show him sleeping on the beach. Yeah. You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
How do we...
Over the...
He said, I don't want to know what he's packing. Killed me. Just smoked me right there. President Trump, he's so formal and serious, and I mean, even when he's joking, it's within range. And then to have Andrew Schulz or whatever his name is to be like, well, it depends what he's packing, and put President Trump in that situation. It's funny, and that's what I like about Elon Musk being on stage with President Trump. Again, he's very serious and very stern, very professional. Elon Musk over there jumping in the air, and then the facial expressions he's making while he's jumping. And you look at President Trump, who's real stern-faced. It's just hilarious to see that contrast from serious President Trump and unserious people who are still being, they're not being disrespectful. They're just being funny and stuff. And to see President Trump in that situation and hold it together and kind of roll with the punches, I like that. You'll never see Hyena Harris doing that stuff. She can't roll with the punches. She just opens her mouth and drops to her knees. But anyways, we're going to get into our official funny video of the day. And it's titled, Adults Celebrate Birthdays Too. Actually, I just reminded myself of something before we get into this funny video of the day. I have one little bit more of news. This was in my mailbox yesterday. Do you read it? Read how Donald Trump's Extreme Project 2025 agenda will unfold for America. They're claiming it's his project. I told you guys in a commercial they were doing that. Now they have physical flyers and stuff. This is a little book. I have no intentions of reading this. I just wanted to show you guys that they're sticking this shit in our mailbox. This is defamation of character. That's what this is, because it's not true. This is a lawsuit right here. I really want President Trump to come out and say that he's suing them for defamation of character, because it would put all that shit to sleep. They wouldn't be able to continue saying those lies. And it would show that President Trump's fighting back against these assholes. I think people would really enjoy him starting a lawsuit against them. But they're already shooting at him. So I kind of understand why he's not doing that. But anyways, back into the funny stuff. This is titled, Adults Celebrate Birthdays Too. Yes. Now, I haven't had a Modelo in a long time. A Modelo. I don't know what I just called it. I haven't had one in a long time because they are also a part of Anheuser-Busch or whatever. And, you know, they got Dylan Mulvaney kind of stuff going on. So I don't drink that bullshit. But pretty good substitute for a birthday cake. Anyways, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. So I'm going to drop this Linktree link to all of you hooligans. And then we are going to read through the chat. Then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we are going to wrap this up. But we will be live again soon. About an hour and a half or so. President Trump is expected to be live on stage in Reading, Pennsylvania for a MAGA rally. And I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, it almost feels like we already had a rally, the way that live event went. And he was on fire, so I'm sure this MAGA rally is going to be fantastic. All right, so I just dropped that Linktree link to all of you hooligans. On the Linktree link, all of my links are listed. So if you would like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7, and we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform, plus it's uncensored, so I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, but there's no one there to tell us what to say and not say, although I don't want to hear racist bullshit on my website. However, it is the best way to experience the live. You can post memes and GIFs and chat or links and custom emojis and tag each other and customize the way your chat bubbles look and all kinds of stuff while you're watching the live. You'll also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our private social media area. You'll have access to our forums, which is to encourage open discussion. You'll have access to our arcade, which is a lot of fun, and it adapts to your phone, so the games work very well, doesn't matter on what device you're on. And then you'll also have access to our advanced messaging system with the built-in group chats that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. I'm constantly working on the website, making it the place to be, so definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. It's the home of the hooligans. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up, and then we are wrapping this up. But like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're waiting for President Trump to be on stage for a MAGA rally in Reading, Pennsylvania. It's going to be a good time, so hopefully I see you guys right here. Thank you, Breeze by You. Appreciate you being here with us. Let's see. Russell, I don't know if you're talking to me or you're talking to somebody else. Russell, when I'm 82 and I'm wearing a banana hammock, what are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? Russell, Trump is extremely funny. I think so too. He's always cracking me up. Thank you, Russell. Appreciate you being here with us. Thank you, Manna. Appreciate you joining us. Easy Pass, have a PBR. I don't think I've had a PBR yet. I am working on it. I've drank a couple Blue Moons and all day IPAs. I had some Oberons a couple weeks ago. I think Oberon's gone now. I think it's out of season. You better chill out, Klaus Daniels. We ain't done yet. Mostly I just drink those Twisted Teas. They're my favorite. They're my favorite. Even though they won't endorse me. For whatever reason, we're working on it. We're working on it. Melissa, holy crap, propaganda. Yeah, this nonsense. I can't believe they're printing this. You know, it's one thing to go out on TV and lie about some shit like Hyena Harris does, but to print it and on top of running ads on Spotify nonstop, claiming that is it. I mean, it literally says it is Donald Trump's Extreme Project 2025 agenda, which is not true. It's not true. And I think, you know what, now that I'm looking at it, referring to it as an extreme agenda, maybe they're trying to get out of defamation of character. Because it doesn't say Donald Trump's Project 2025. It says Extreme Project 2025 agenda. I think they're trying to get out of the lawsuit. They're trying to be like, no. We didn't say exactly the phrase. I think that's what that is. Some trickiness. I don't know. They're a bunch of lying bastards. I know that. Alistair, take a pic of it and send it to Trump campaign. I haven't seen that, but maybe they don't know about it. Oh, maybe that's what Russell was saying, to take a picture of this and send it to President Trump. I'll try. I don't know how to reach the president. I mean, that makes sense, right? I will try. That would be super awesome. Thank you for the suggestion, you hooligans. Puff and Stuff, take photos and post it so Trump can see it. You guys really believe that that's going to work? I'm totally going to do it. Alistair would love to see Crowder interview Trump. That would be awesome. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't already happened. AR-16, 2025 is the new Russia. You're right. You are right. Dutton had some company from Romania send me an email damn near exactly like the mag pamphlet a couple months ago. Interesting. I don't know where this came from. Came from Lansing, the capital here. Paid for by Michigan Democrat State Central Committee. Well, they're not shy about it. Oh, I just remembered. Let me see. Well, so you guys know what a QR code is, right? The square barcode looking things. If you get text messages or even a package showing up at your house claiming that you won something, you know, like scammy, spammy mail you get, if it has a barcode on it, whether it's a package or whatnot, if you didn't order shit and it's got one of those QR codes, do not scan it. Apparently, there's a new scam going around where people are receiving packages or envelopes or whatever, and it's kind of scammy, spammy stuff. Like, hey, congratulations, you won some dumb shit. Scan the QR code and see what you won. People are doing that and losing their bank account passwords and shit like that. It's cyber criminals. They're sending you congratulation letters to get you to scan their QR code so you can nuke yourself. So be aware of that. I just reminded myself of that because there's a QR code on the back of this Democratic pamphlet and they probably want my bank account numbers. Anyways. Thank you, Pumpkin. Appreciate you being here. Love you too, Mana. DCat, seems to be a lot of tornadoes down in Florida. Yeah, it does seem to be that way. What's up, Fry TV? Happy freedom. Melissa, those two are high as fuck. Me and Klaus? No, we're not. You cut that out. You cut that out. I'm sure you weren't talking about us. Thank you, Too Old to Care. Killer J, I'm really surprised that Twitch would let you say that. Yeah, that would be badass, Zero. Thank you. All right, hooligans. It's that time once again. Now I can't breathe. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, hooligans, we did the thing. We're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind. But like I said, in about an hour, hour and 15 minutes or something like that. We'll be live again with President Trump. As soon as he walks on stage, I'll kick off that live. So look forward to it. It is a MAGA rally, so there is a chance that he'll be late. So, if we're not live right at 7 p.m. Eastern time, just know I am sitting here. I am ready to go. And as soon as they introduce him, we're kicking off that live, and we're going to make sure it's a good time. So hopefully I see you guys right here. Like I said, we're going to read through one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind, and we're wrapping her up. Russell, I don't know what Chiro is. Oh, chiropractor? I see. I had a Biden moment for a second, I think. Thank you, Zero. Thank you, Breeze by You. Thank you, David. Appreciate you being with us. Thank you, DCat. Mike T, I got my Obama phone. When I was taking those screenshots and sending it to the officer earlier today, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he's going to see these screenshots from the video, and he's going to think I have an Obama phone. That's what it looks like. Happy freedom, amazing disgrace. Appreciate you being here. All right, hooligans. It looks like we are good to go. Like I said a million times, President Trump's going to be live 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we're covering him live for a MAGA rally. If I don't see you tonight for the MAGA rally, we will be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. I can't remember if we got President Trump tomorrow or not. It's a surprise, so you better show up for Coffee with Hooligans to figure it out. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.